am Native American. Whites are Native Americans. What are you talking about?
It's so bad faith. Oh, it's actually so.
But you don't condemn Nazi persecution of the Jews?
I think that there was a little bit of persecution.
We may have to rename the show because you're a little bit more than a far-right Republican.
Hey, what can I say?
I think you can say, I'm a fascist.
Yeah, I am. Absolutely.
I'm just checking who's clapping. I am an immigrant. I'm speaking from personal experience.
Get the hell out.
I don't even like... My first claim is Donald Trump is pro-crime and pro-criminal. Welcome.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'm Medhi.
I would just like to ask, what makes someone pro-crime versus, anti-crime?
I think when you're soft on criminals, when you let criminals out of prison, when you pardon people who've assaulted police officers, you're pro-criminal. Donald Trump pardoned almost 1,600 people who were involved in January the 6th. I think 600 of them had been charged with assaulting a police officer or obstructing a police officer. 170 had pled guilty to assaulting a police officer. 70 had pled guilty to assault with a deadly weapon. J.D. Vance said, we're not going to pardon the violent criminals from January 6th. Donald Trump pardoned all of them. Are you okay with that?
I would say January 6th is a very special case. I would say
it always is a special case with conservatives. And it was a really special case. Those people should have been sentenced 10 times harsher.
It's almost a climax point in history. I would just phrase the question this way. Right now in the LA protests, if they were to, just for example, they were to rush the Capitol of LA, I mean, they'd have to move over all the homeless people living in tents on the steps of the Capitol. But
cities don't have capitals, do they? Maybe he just means the town hall or whatever, I guess.
If they were to rush the Capitol of LA, I mean, they'd have to move over all the homeless people living in tents on the steps of the Capitol. But if they were managed to get into the Capitol and they were just protesting, peacefully, let's say police officers were rushing them in. They were letting them in and saying, hey, you guys can go in, like we have many testimonies that say.
What about the violent ones, though?
Okay, violent ones like...
That's all bullshit. That's all the fucking lie. That's all 100% a fucking lie. Everybody, we need brown shirt in a video game. I want to make, God, fuck. That guy had he had the right idea on some things. Oh.
David Dempsey, a judge, a Reagan-appointed judge, sentenced to 20 years in prison. He stomped on police officers' heads. The judge said his conduct was exceptionally egregious. He attacked police officers with flagpoles and pepper spray. Donald Trump pardoned him. There's a man named Daniel Rodriguez. He got 12 years in prison for taking a stun gun and tasing a police officer in the neck and giving him a heart attack. The judge said he was a one-man army of hate. Donald Trump pardoned him. Does that not make Trump pro-criminal? He's letting violent criminals out of prison.
I would say no, it doesn't make him pro-criminal.
Okay. It's okay. You have a way out of this. You just have to say, I don't know the specifics of that. I don't know anything about that, okay? Remember your golden weapon, okay? You always have the golden weapon as a conservative to escape anything, all right? Because people treat you and expect you to be a fucking retard on your side. Just say you don't know the details, okay? You can do it, man. You can do it. You can do it. Come on, you can do it. Or compared to BLM.
You're okay with that?
I did not say that. I said that one pardon against somebody.
It was 1,600 pardons. 600 of those were people charged
one
with...
example that you just gave me.
I can give you more. Just
okay,
keep going.
Fine. And I'll say the exact same thing every single time.
Then your argument will fall apart because it's not just one example if I keep going.
Go for it then.
Okay, Shane Jenkins got 7 years in prison for 9 criminal offenses, attacking police with a deadly weapon, destroying government property.
How do
Trump pardoned
pardons
him.
that probably shouldn't have happened turn into pro-crime?
So you've agreed that...
How do pardons that shouldn't have happened turn into pro-crime? I mean, what could be more pro-crime than pardoning somebody that you agree did a crime and you don't want them to suffer the repercussions of it? What?
That they shouldn't have been pardoned.
Sure, but that wasn't your claim, was January 6th. Your claim was Trump is pro-crime.
Yeah, because he pardons criminals.
Okay, I would say that's a fault.
Let's talk about non-January 6 people.
Okay.
He's pardoned people like Paul Wolchak recently, who took millions of dollars from his own employees, was sentenced to tax crimes, had to pay back $4 million. Trump pardoned him. He bought himself a $2 million yacht.
We don't even go over these, but there are so many unhinged pardons in this admin. It's just, you can't even keep up. It's indefensible. I don't even know why a conservative would try.
Why is he pardoning criminals like that?
Well, I don't know. I don't think you should. I don't think really presidential pardon should be a thing at all. But I think.
Back up to the general claim. Okay.
I think that,
all right, pause.
That means something.
You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
Thanks.
How's it going?
Hey, how's it going, Mehdi?
What is it?
Mehdi.
You're from northern UK, I guess?
I'm from London, North London.
Okay, fair enough. What's your ethnic background, if you don't mind my asking?
My parents are from India.
Okay, perfect. Just getting premise here. First of all, I want to say...
The premise of Donald Trump being pro-crime?
No. I want to concern myself with why you care about what's happening in the U.S., first and foremost. Secondly, I want to say this.
Should people who live in the U.S. not care about that?
Let's not interrupt each other. Because I have this thing, people know I have this thing. I have to stay calm, okay? So
here's
the thing. I am happy that he released J6. In fact, so much so that I was prepared to protest if he didn't. So when you say, are you okay that he's pro-crime? Sure, because you know what? We're changing the definition of what crime is, first and foremost.
You don't think stomping on police officers' heads is a crime?
I don't think it's no longer a relevant conversation anymore. You're arguing, no, it's not, because you know what?
Behaving like the people who are despicable would be leading that type of rhetoric. It would be
nice misspeak, fucking retard. Slow down.
Denying every single bad thing. How many times as a liberal? How many times as a liberal have you been on a show? Not you in general, but like a liberal been on a show and you've been forced to disavow all the BLM riots, disavow all the violence and blah blah blah, and then you talk to conservatives about January 6th.
Violence.
That was
That's
a false
good.
flag.
Yeah.
January 6th. Oh, like conservatives disavow January 6th?
Wait. First off, there's an entire cultural machine that has lied. There is an entire
we just saw it in real time. That's it.
What?
That's why conservatives deserve absolutely.
This is it. It's like, but obviously now they're even more emboldened. So it's like, this has to stop.
Police officers' heads is a crime?
I don't think it's no longer a relevant conversation anymore. You're arguing, no, it's not, because you know what? Okay, have you seen the U.S. in the last 4 or 5 years?
Yes, I've
BLM protests. Have you seen? Okay,
BLM.
I myself have been involved in these protests. I've seen egregious things that you couldn't even imagine.
So we have no
done
rules
to conservatives.
Things that you couldn't even imagine in a protest in the United States? Like what? Like there are videos online of cartel members cutting organs out of people that are still alive. Like what are these things that you couldn't even imagine in U.S. protest? What are we talking about?
It's not about that. It's about tribal warfare. Okay. That's where we're at in the U.S. I don't know where you're at in the U.K. You're from India, so I don't really.
I'm not from India.
Oh, sorry, your parents are from India, so
I'm an American
you have
citizen.
your own stakes.
I'm an American, you know.
You're an American citizen?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. I don't know how you got that, but fair enough. Here's the thing.
Are you an American citizen?
Absolutely.
Okay.
But here's the thing.
Not sure how you got that. Okay.
Born here.
Okay.
Born here, and my family lineage is settlers from the 1500s, so I have some stake in the claim here. Okay.
But you're
a little different.
But you're a
than yours.
descendant of immigrants. Settlers.
I didn't know.
Colonialists.
Yeah,
you
colonials.
You don't look
yeah.
very Native American to me.
I am Native American. Whites are Native Americans. What are you talking about?
You're not.
What are you talking about? Whites are Native Americans.
Really?
I think
what was happening before the 1500s?
I think you're getting confused with it.
I don't mind going on a tangent, but what was happening before the 1500s?
Calm down. I think you're getting.
What was happening before the 1500s?
There was indigenous people here that came here from Asia.
Do you know what indigenous means?
Listen, before
indigenous
America,
people can't come from somewhere else.
Why do you ask a question if you're going to interrupt?
I'm not sure if you know what the meaning of indigenous means.
I do know what it means. It means they came here first, right? They came here from Asia by way of land bridge. Have an argument with Neil deGrasse Tyson or anybody else about that. I don't care.
Is he an American?
I genuinely don't care. Yes, he is.
Okay, just checking.
My point is,
he very easily, quickly bought that. Yes, he is. Remember, okay, so this is one of the times when that nuance that I'll point out comes out is the new MAGA people, okay? They're not racist, they're xenophobic. And there's a lot of overlap sometimes, but in one of the areas where you don't see the racism quite as much is when it comes to black people. Because a lot of these people they either don't attack black people or they'll sometimes even defend black people as being like, oh no, well that's part of America. Yeah, they were slaves, but they came over here as Americans. But they have a special type of disdain for other foreigners that aren't necessarily, like black. Like they might hate Africans or especially like Indians or anything like that, especially after the H-1B thing, Indians. But it's a lot of this is like a more fleshed out xenophobic ideology than just a racist one.
my point is, okay?
Nothing to do with crime. So far, you've agreed with me that these people are
Because you're
criminals.
derailing, dude. I'm trying to stay on track.
You literally sat down and asked me where I'm from. I think you derailed this conversation from the get-go.
by that, but I'm
not offended. I'm just wondering what it has to do with crime.
I'm always curious.
We're going to talk about immigration. Don't worry. Later on, you can come back.
I hope so.
Right now, you're doing a very bad job of making the case that he's not pro-crime.
I just got a round of applause. I could probably get another one actually if I asked for it.
Wow.
So I don't think I'm doing
this how
as
you
bad.
get rounds of applause? You sit in a room with 20 people who agree with you. Wow, amazing. Amazing. That
well,
must
wait
make you
till
feel
this
good.
comes out. You know what? I'm actually
20 people
glad
agree
you're
with
getting
you,
this
applauded you.
emotionally outraged right
Wow.
now. This is great.
I love it.
Do I have to say anything at this point, or are you just going to keep going?
Please. Make your claim.
Well, my claim is that I don't care if it's pro-crime. You want to go back to the topic of conversation?
That's fine. We agree then. He's pro-crime.
But I have a
care.
question for you.
Is there any validity to the argument that Native Americans weren't native to America because of the idea that it didn't exist when Indians inhabited the continent? Actually, I think that there is some validity to that. I think that the whole figuring out who's native is incredibly f***ing stupid. Sometimes Mehdi won't get pushed on this here, but like this happens, for instance, with Israel-Palestine, right? When people say like, oh, history didn't start on October 7th, it's like, okay, well, when do you want to start the clock? It's like 2005, when Hamas took over, or do you want to start it in, 67 when Israel took the West Bank and the Gaza Strip and the Golan Heights? Do you want to start it in 48, when the Nakba happened, or do you want to start in 47 when the Palestinians tried to kill all the Jews, or do you want to start it in do you want to start it in the 1400s when the Ottoman Empire took over? Do you want to start it in the zero, whatever? I don't know, what year was it? 70 when the Romans like fucked over the Jewish people? Do you want to start at the Kingdom of Israel? Like you can always like play that game indefinitely. Arguing over who's more indigenous or like when do you start the clock, I feel is like really arbitrary and stupid, but that's why in the United States of America we don't define ourselves by who was indigenous to this territory, which was supposed to be a cool thing about the US, but
For you, though, do you care on the opposite side of the spectrum?
Yes.
Do you care about law being administered to the opposite side of the spectrum?
I think anyone who assaults a police officer shouldn't be pardoned. I think that Donald Trump shouldn't have pardoned 9 Republican members of Congress who were convicted of crimes, and I don't think Joe Biden should commit. I don't think Democrats should pardon Democrats.
Fair.
Wait, who did Trump pardon? 9 members of Congress? What's that in reference to? Were these J6 related charges, or did they become members of Congress, or what was the?
I don't think you understand where we are in the U.S. I
think I do.
No, because you're.
You got to respect how quick Medhi just reacts in the most calm and collected manner. British journalists have like this talent for eviscerating people, and I think that's where his background is like journalism in Britain, right? Pierce is pretty good at it as well. A lot of them are really good at this.
I don't think Democrats should pardon Democrats.
Fair, but I don't think you understand where we are in the U.S. I
think I do.
No, because you're arguing for a position of like a U.S. that doesn't exist anymore. Okay. We're headed towards
nihilism. No laws, nothing matters.
It's not about
everyone's pro-crime.
It's not about that. It's that conservatives for too long have been playing it safe. They've been playing by the law. They've been playing by the law. Yes, they have.
Maybe you missed the Bush presidency. Did you live here during the Bush years?
Conservatives are
didn't play by the law, George W. Bush. Nor did Ronald Reagan.
Let's be respectful to you. Let me finish.
I'm not sure you've been that respectful, but okay.
I'm trying to bring it back, so let's both bring it back. Okay. I'm conservative, okay?
Really?
The British education system is just so much better. I mean, like, the U.S. education system is okay. The problem here is not a matter of education. The problem here is a matter of politics and political, like, sludge that's just infecting every fucking part of every facet of American life. Like, everything is infected with politics, and our education system has become increasingly so. But the issue is not one of, like, fundamentally the U.S. education system is just completely broken. Like, it has issues for sure, but the issue related to all of this is not one that can be fixed with the education system. This has to come from without. It's a political problem right now.
Let me tell you this. We do play it too safe. We've been playing it by the book for too long. Okay. At this point, gloves are off, right? The left has made their point. They're willing to do...
The police force in Washington, the left.
Like, do you see this perception? Like, a lot of Republicans, my mom would agree with this 100%, right? Conservatives have been fighting with one hand tied behind their back, and now we need to finally step up and do something. It's like, well, excuse me. What about Ken Starr and the whole Clinton-Monica Lewinsky thing? That was you guys digging for dirt for half a decade to find something to put this guy away on. What about the whole Hillary Clinton emails thing? What about the whole blocking Barack Obama from having a fucking Supreme Court judge that he is... has a right to. What about, I always mix up Gore and Kerry. Gore was the one who gave up the election early to Bush because of the Florida Supreme Court shenaniganery. It was the federal Supreme Court shenaniganery. Like McConnell saying that he would block every single piece of legislation that came out of the Obama White House. At what point were conservatives playing nice? Like, when did this ever happen? Ever? What? What are we talking about here?
Yes. Are you kidding me? The left? Are you insane?
Police officers.
Look at LA right here. Do you think those stand down? You think
the LAPD are a bunch of liberal Marxists?
No, but I think they listen to liberal Marxists who tell them what to do.
Okay.
I think they listen to who signs their paychecks.
If Dems got in office in 2020 and got a trifecta, what do you think they should do to purge the country with extremism? Start jailing all these fucking people, and then get ready your Guy Fawkes mask out. My FBI agent that still watches me, I love you, and I'm not saying for anybody to be violent or anything, only self-defense. But I think you should just push it. And if that's the direction people want to go, then it's going to happen anyway, and we might as well have it on our terms. Because, I mean, like, at this point, like, this is not sustainable. You can't continue on like this. This doesn't work. This back and forth doesn't work. In a narcissistic way, like, the way that I have to deal politically with stuff is a microcosm of the whole political system, right? Where I might be on a panel with 20 people screaming at me, like, why are you so mean to conservatives sometimes? Like, you just need to be just a little bit nicer. And you're seeing the same thing play out right here. Like, why can't liberals just have a little bit more goodwill towards conservatives? Bro, Biden was the ultimate cuck. And I respect him for it. I don't mean cuck disparagingly. I think Biden did a really good job at trying his best to be a president for all of America, to do bipartisan support for big legislation, to not attack MAGA constantly. And we got nothing for it. We get zero credit for it. Absolutely nothing at all. Like, the fact that Trump was elected a second time is just like, what the fuck? What's going on here? Like, let's just fucking, whatever we have to do, like, let's just push to that, whatever big confrontation needs to happen, fuck it.
No, but I think they listen to liberal Marxists who tell them what to do.
Okay.
I think they listen to who signs their paychecks at the end of the day.
Can I just check, because you're doing lots of little diversions. We both agree Donald Trump's pro-crime, you're just fine with it.
No,
I don't. That's what you've said so far for about 5 minutes.
I don't agree with your definition.
What's your definition of crime?
It doesn't
Stomping
matter.
on a police officer's head is not a crime. That's your definition of crime, as the Native American.
I am Native American.
If you say so.
So, going back to the topic at hand, we have different definitions of crime because you're talking about...
There's a criminal code in this country. It's called the U.S. Criminal Code.
You know what? Let's focus on what we agree on. I'm sure you and I actually agree on a lot more.
Do we agree that people shouldn't stomp on police officers' heads? Can we agree on that? If you don't agree on that, then I really think this conversation is kind of pointless.
Because first of all, you're saying what? That the police have the authority, that they're given the authority. I don't accept the authority that's been given by liberal
conservative position. I'm a conservative or pro-police.
Then you don't know what a real... Hey, listen, you're in a room with juggernauts right now, okay? I'm telling you right now, you are going to be blown open if you think that my
if we're going to struggle with the English language for the next couple hours, then
what you're up against right now, okay?
100%.
Yeah. Newsflash, the conservatives are liberal to me, okay? Neocons, libertarians, all those mainstream people, they might as well be leftists to me, okay? That's how far to the right I am. Do you understand my position?
So when you
say, about obeying police, why would I give the authority to police? Do you know here in America?
Do you think Donald Trump should be pardoning 9 members of Congress who committed financial crimes? Are you pro-financial crime? Do you pro-financial crime?
All right, pause.
I think the people who clapped you have voted you out.
All right, head back to your seat. You've been voted out by the majority.
Nice to meet you. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hey, so I'm going to be as respectful about this as possible, but the truth is your claim is completely bad faith. You do not care about being anti-crime. You yourself are pro-crime. Your side is pro-crime because you're a progressive.
How am I pro-crime?
So I'll give you an example, right? So you're...
Let's see. BLM, riots, DEI, institutional racism, police being racist. Where are we going with this? White supremacy argument, something? Let's go.
Side, not Donald Trump, has passed a series of laws in California. Let's go California. It's where we are right now. It's where I'm from. I don't know. Are you from California?
No.
Okay. So in California, for example, the state legislature, completely progressive, just passed a law that limits sex offender registration to 10 years. It was life before. That's pro-crime. The legislature in California, which is progressives again, has passed a law that says the vote before. That's pro-crime.
California has a tier-based sex offender registry. Those who commit misdemeanors have to register for a minimum of 10 years, while those who commit more serious sex crimes have to register for 20 years to life. There's nothing, it depends on what the fucking crime is, right? Like, I'm pretty sure indecent exposure is considered like a sexual crime or whatever. But like, if somebody, and I'm not saying you should do this, but if somebody streaks across a field, well, wait, does that count as a sex offender? California misdemeanor, like if somebody like streaks across a football field during a game or whatever, like should this person be on a sex offender list for life?
The legislature in California, which is progressives again, has passed a law that says the voter-induced 3-strike law is no longer absolute. If someone
also, wait, how are you pro-crime if you change the law on how some of these crimes are regulated? Does that make you pro-crime? Like, aren't you going through the process? I mean, we could technically make a philosophical argument if we define crime differently and say, well, if you passed a law that got rid of all crime, that makes you pro-crime. That's like a fairish argument. But if you're trying to argue over the borders of like what should be illegal or how illegal should a thing be, does that make you pro-crime?
Murders someone, stabs someone on 3 separate occasions. A judge now does not have to give them life. That's a progressive law. That is not. That
does not have to give them life? Why do we have mandatory? California voters changed the state's 3-strike rule in 2012, so the mandatory 25 to life sentence was only imposed on serious or violent offenders. I mean, that seems like a good change.
Someone stabs someone on 3 separate occasions. A judge now does not have to give them life.
You have to dab if you read this? Dabbing is... That world has passed us by, okay?
That's a progressive law.
Dab.
That is not. That is pro-crime. You support that, don't you?
I actually don't support sex offenders coming off a list. I think they should be on for life.
Okay, so you disagree with progressives.
So hold on. You and I both agree that sex offending is a bad thing, especially child sex offending, right?
It seems like you and I agree on that.
I agree
on that. The legislature of California doesn't.
So I'm not here to debate the legislature of California. I'm here to debate Donald Trump being pro-crime. And I'm saying that Donald Trump was friends with Ghislaine Maxwell. When Ghislaine Maxwell, who's the worst child sex trafficker of our lifetime, she's serving over 20 years. Do you know Ghislaine Maxwell?
Yeah, she's actually not. Jeffrey Epstein's the worst sex trafficker.
He's dead. I'm talking about people alive right now.
It's interesting, though, you didn't use his name, right? Wouldn't he?
No.
What is this gotcha here? Like, okay, we'll move to Epstein. Why does he think this is a gotcha?
The one who did this?
Oh, great. I'm glad you brought up Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein, before he died, did an interview.
I was going to say, what? Okay, you think this is a massive W? But
Wolf, he's on tape. I don't know if you've heard the tape. He says, my closest friend was Donald Trump. I was his closest friend.
Are we going to believe a sex offender?
Musk, I'm not sure if you've heard of him. He tweeted recently that Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files. And Ghislaine Maxwell, who was the right-hand woman of Jeffrey Epstein, when she was on trial for child sex offending, which you and I are opposed to, Donald Trump stood up and said, good luck to her. I wish her well. So yeah, that makes him pro-crime and pro-criminal if he's being soft on child sex traffickers like Epstein.
Friends.
That was kind of weird. He did say that.
Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison, and a lot of people want to know if she's going to turn in powerful people. And I know you've talked in the past about Prince Andrew, and you've criticized Bill Clinton's behavior. I'm wondering, do you feel that she's going to turn in powerful men? How do you see that working out?
I don't know. I haven't really been following it too much. I just wish her well, frankly. I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, and I guess they lived in Palm Beach.
Did he not know the details of any of the case or whatever? That's what it sounds like. He's just like spitballing an answer because he doesn't know. He's like a fucking...
But I wish her well. whatever it is. I don't know the situation with Prince Andrew. Just don't know. Not aware of it.
I think he actually doesn't know. This is like when he was answering about the the International Court of Justice case against Israel. When the reporter asked her a question, he's like, "Oh, it's a tough case. Hopefully, we win, or that we whatever." It is like the U.S. isn't even a part of this.
He's
no, I'm saying he was friends. He was friends with Epstein. You haven't seen the videos? They danced together, partied together. Epstein said I was his closest friend.
He's not supported the pedophilia part. The only people supporting pedophilia
actually, that's not true. Trump gave a speech about 20 years ago where he said Epstein's a great guy. He loves young women. A lot of them are very young. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink, laugh, laugh. So yeah, I think he's pro-crime and pro-criminal.
So you think he's pro-crime for having friends? Do you have any friends who are criminals?
Not that I know.
Oh, and the pivot. This is what I'm starting to feel like now. After covering news for like the past year and a half now, like being able to rattle off, this happened. I love him, but this happened in my Tom Billieu debate. This happened with the debate with the constitutional lawyers. Like the world was worse under Biden, and it's like, oh, okay, you think it was worse for what? Well, like for things like the guy brought up DEI, and I was like, didn't affirmative action go away under the Supreme Court under Biden, and he didn't bring it back at all, right? It's like, well, yeah, but what about or when Dave Smith is like 2020 was the worst year ever for freedom of speech. It's like, wasn't that when Donald Trump was president though? 2020 was the worst year. That was his FBI. That was his CIA, that was his everything else, right? And it's, when you only need to follow news for, I guess, 1.5 years, and you have like an infinite amount of examples to pull from. How do you fight on any of these things as conservatives? Like every debate that I've had in the past 6 months against a conservative, like I feel bad for them almost going in. I'm like, this is like brutal. Like, good luck, dude. You're going to have some crazy jutsu that you're going to have to pull out to try to defend any of this shit.
Nudge, wink, wink, laugh, laugh. So yeah, I think he's pro-crime and pro-criminal.
So you think he's pro-crime for having friends? Do you have any friends who are criminals?
Not that I know of. Certainly not child sex offenders. No, do you?
No, of course not.
Okay, so we're both in agreement again. So why are you defending Donald Trump?
If it came out tomorrow that one of your friends was a child sex trafficker,
you know what I'd do?
You'd stop being friends with them.
Yes, and I wouldn't say.
And then I'd go on TV and I would say, oh look, Mr. Hasan was friends with this guy 10 years ago. Therefore, he's pro-child sex trafficking.
What if Mr. Hasan said, I wish them well when they're on trial? Wouldn't you ever go at me for that?
You wish your friend well on trial?
Yeah.
It's so bad faith. It's actually so fucking bad faith. It's so bad faith. It's actually insane. You wouldn't wish your friend well? You wouldn't. Could you imagine? If Biden or Bill Clinton or Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama, if anybody else had made any of these statements about Epstein, they're like, oh, well, I'm sure it was just a friend. You're wishing a friend well.
Yeah, child sex trafficker. Would you mean that?
I wouldn't wish someone well, but
Donald Trump did.
That's your gotcha?
It's a pretty big gotcha.
He wished a friend well.
Pretty big gotcha.
Okay, what you're really trying to do right now is you're trying to get back to Donald Trump on a personal level.
Elon Musk says his name.
What's his policy?
You want to talk policies?
Yes.
So when he left office in 2020, he left behind the highest murder rate for over 100 years.
He left behind the highest murder rate? That is the most bad faith claim you could possibly make.
It's a fact from the CDC data.
You know what? Here's why it's bad faith.
Can I finish the sentence and then you can come back in?
You're just lying to people. Donald Trump.
I'm lying? Can I finish the sentence?
Donald Trump does not cause the murder rates. Murder is a state level crime.
That's hilarious.
Gavin Newsom is more responsible for the murder rate than Donald Trump is.
That's hilarious. So Donald Trump's not responsible for the murder rate, but other politicians who are Democrats.
Yes, because it's a state level law. That's like saying I'll say Republicans are too. State governors who are soft on crime are the ones that are responsible for murder rates. Let me finish the sentence.
When Donald Trump left office in 2020, between 2019 and 2020, according to data from the CDC, from the FBI, from Pew Research, there's a 30% increase in the murder rate between 2019 and 2020. It was the single biggest jump in the murder rate since 1905. So he's pro-crime and pro-criminal.
Who's doing the murdering?
The murderers.
The kid here is technically correct. You can't really blame the president for the murder rate. But then if we go to states with murder rates, I'm pretty sure red states tend to have higher murder rates than blue ones. Now, you can argue because it's the population size or whatever, but Gavin Newsom was blowing up a whole bunch of governors that were trying to take a dig at him on Twitter for that.
So aren't they responsible for the murder rate?
Why did it go up on his watch?
What?
Why did it go up on his watch?
Gee, that's a real hard one to figure out, right? We shut down the whole economy during COVID. We told everyone they couldn't go out unless it was
We shut down the whole economy? Who shut down the whole economy? Excuse me, who was president again? Remember, that was Donald Trump. Nobody seems to remember that Donald Trump was the president during COVID, but
violently protest. We told people that if a cop tries to arrest you, that cop's probably going to get charged with murder.
No, I think the pandemic had a lot to do with it. The pandemic didn't finish in 2020.
What?
The pandemic didn't finish in 2020.
And yet the murder rate went up.
We're going to play the one about you. You guys blame Joe Biden for crime for years.
What? Joe Biden actively induces policies that are pro-crime. I'm asking
you does Donald Trump.
Name the policy that's pro-crime. Please, I've asked you for like 10 minutes.
2015?
Of Jeffrey Epstein in your remarks about in the Q&A.
Well, I think he's got a problem. I mean,
what do you think the problem will be?
I don't know, but that island was really a cesspool. There's no question about it. Just ask Prince Andrew. He'll tell you about it. The island was an absolute cesspool. So,
the Clintons are friends
and he's
of
been
yours,
there
right?
for many times.
The Clintons are friends.
Well, I can't say friends, but I know
You're friendly. You know them.
They play at my clubs a lot. I have clubs, and everybody likes to play at my clubs.
Are you saying there's a political problem for her if she runs for president?
It could be a political problem. Look, he could be a political problem. Right now, he's Teflon, and right now, maybe not. But he could end up being a political problem.
Wait, he knew? The thing is he might not. The problem is that he might not have known. He might literally just be saying this because he hates these people at this point in time. Trump is like the most unreliable fucking narrator in the universe. But you better fucking believe that if a Clinton had said this, if an Obama had said this, if a Biden had said this clip would be played 24/7.
So
there are so many crazy clips. Like I said, if you want to make like an Epstein conspiracy, go for it. But like Trump fits it a millionfold better. Trump fits it so much better than anybody on the Democrat side. Is there any other recording? I don't have to ask this. I know there's not, because if there was, I would be hearing about it 24/7. Like just like the things of like Epstein talking about, oh yeah, you know, I was Donald Trump's closest friend, you know?
So how do you know this? Donald's closest friend.
192,000 views. No one even gives a like, it's just crazy. Whatever.
Right now. No, you haven't actually talked about California legislatures. He pardoned violent criminals who then went on to commit other crimes. You don't think releasing violent crimes into the community?
Pardon's a one-time thing. What's his policy he has pushed? Name a law he has signed.
A pardon is a one-time thing. A policy is not one-time thing.
That's like Jimmy Carter pardoned the draft bill.
You guys may want to dodge January 6th, the pardons.
I'm not judging that.
Then deal with it. Did you agree with
I'm going to write now. Jimmy Carter pardoned draft dodgers. Does that mean his policy was
I don't support Jimmy Carter. Do you support the pardoning of people who went on to be prosecuted for sexually abusing a 7-year-old child, illegal gun possession, reckless homicide?
There's more bad faith. He didn't pardon someone for sexually abusing a child.
They went on to be convicted of it.
For rebelling against the government that they believe had rigged elections. That's what he pardoned them for. He didn't pardon them for sexual child abuse.
But they were criminals who committed those crimes. He let them out. So that means the crime rate goes up.
So you say they're criminals because they did the crime, right? Yeah. Would you extend that to illegal immigrants, that they're all criminals because they...
What? Look at the pivots, bro. Holy shit.
Committed a crime. I have a feeling your position.
The Supreme Court, we're going to talk about immigration.
Someone who's illegally entered the United States, not a criminal, but somebody who illegally entered the Capitol is.
Not according to the Supreme Court of the United States.
The Supreme Court has said that anyone who enters the United States illegally is not a criminal.
And we can jump to future claims.
Can I get the case site?
We can jump to 20. You want to get the case?
Oh shit! And Mehdi actually got baited on that.
The case site, please. You said the Supreme Court.
The citation of the case.
Yes, that entering the United States illegally is not a crime.
It's called Arizona versus United States 2012. Go look it up.
Pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
What does this guy have a fucking folder for?
Hey, how's it going?
How are you, sir?
Nice to meet you, Mehdi.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for coming. Appreciate you. I really just more want to get an understanding. When you say pro-criminal, what do you mean?
I mean that when confronted with people who've committed criminal acts, Donald Trump has been either soft on them, friendly with them, pardoned them, and of course, let's not forget, I mean, we've got 5 minutes left, I'm surprised it hasn't come up earlier. He's a convicted criminal himself, sitting in the White House.
Okay, I want to make sure I understand you correctly, because I don't want to strawman you. You're saying
I appreciate that.
Every time that he's been confronted...
Not every time.
Most times.
Every time.
Most times.
A lot of the time.
A lot of the times.
Yes.
He's leaned towards criminal activity.
I didn't say criminal activity. He has committed crimes. He's been indicted for 88 different criminal offenses.
The easy thing here that Medhi should say is like, when it benefits him, he is pro-crime. That's what he should say. Donald Trump will never take a principled stance against crime. He will only take a convenient stance or an opportunistic stance against it. When the crime benefits him, then he will be supportive of it. That's why he literally got a Supreme Court to say that he can't even commit crimes now, right?
In 4 different jurisdictions by 5 different grand juries. He was convicted himself on 34 different criminal offenses by a jury of his peers. Okay. But let's park that for a moment. Okay. Separate to his own crimes, when confronted with the crimes of others, or the alleged crimes of others, for example, a Chinese crypto billionaire called Justin Sun, who was being investigated for market manipulation, Trump dropped the case, invited him to the golf course, invited him to the White House,
plenty of examples,
and the guy invested $70 million in Trump's cryptocurrency.
So what I want to ask you this,
That's pro-crime in my view.
Is it possible, because remember, the burden of proof's on you, right? You have to prove, is it possible that all these things that he's done that supposedly make him pro-crime, is there's another reason for the doing it? There's other justification. For example, let me give you an example. The J6.
Yes.
Is it possible that he could have done this to unite the country, to move past, to go to a new chapter?
What an unbelievably low IQ statement. When you talk about uniting the country, that's called bridge building. That's when you go to the other side and you do something nice. Not, wow, I've noticed that my group of 10 friends has been fighting with this other group of 10 friends. I'm going to unite us by giving my group of 10 friends something nice. What the fuck? What an unbelievably fucking random, stupid thing to say.
If it's even possible, I think you would have to admit that there's another possibility, therefore he's not pro-crime.
Also, it is 2025. We're not talking about what Epicurus or Philanthroperius or whatever random fucking Roman emperor might have said or might have done, or we're trying to guess what the motivations could have been for some king or queen or some feudal lord in the year 1. We have unlimited access to tweets and truths and public statements and press statements and interviews and his own in front of the camera stuff. Why do we have to invent reasons for why Donald Trump pardoned people from the J6 system? He pardoned them because he thought it was unfair because they were being unfairly prosecuted. Like, we don't have to guess. Why do we have to invent reasons? If he was doing it to unite the country, shouldn't he say that? Shouldn't he make that statement?
If it's even possible, I think you would have to admit that there's another possibility, therefore he's not pro-crime, at least in possibility.
So let me agree and disagree.
Yeah, okay.
So I agree with you that the intent could be different. I don't think Donald Trump was sitting there saying, how can I increase the level of murders? Let me release some murderers.
Right.
I'm not saying he did that on January 6th. I don't think he was trying to unite the country. That's where we disagree. That's bullshit. In fact, he divided the country further. But intent doesn't really matter to my claim. If he's releasing violent criminals,
wait.
it
doesn't matter?
No, he's pro-crime and pro-criminal.
No, but that's a big indictment to say pro-crime. That means
if I'm
he's
confronted,
for crime.
I'm confronted. Well, he is, because for example, I gave an example.
No. It could be possible. Okay, sorry, forgive me.
Your friend earlier, your ally, said, where has he done stuff that's increased the crime? I'm telling you, people have been pardoned who have been convicted on multiple other crimes. These people who we pardoned had previous criminal records. They were not just some folks chilling around go, we're against the takeover of our country, we're opposed to rebellion. A lot of these people were already hardened criminals, militia members. He looked at those people and said, you know what? They've been convicted, in many cases, by Republican judges, but I'm going to let them out. Yeah, that makes you pro-criminal.
Is it possible?
Very much so. And if Joe Biden had done it, you'd be attacking him.
Sure. Is it possible that their conviction was part of a plea? It's like, oh shit, I can't get out of this, so I got to take a plea deal.
Some of them, maybe.
A lot of them, maybe?
Others we saw with our own lying eyes. Convicted, in many cases, by Republican judges, but I'm going to let them out. Yeah, that makes you pro-criminal.
Is it possible?
Very much so. And if Joe Biden had done it, you'd be attacking him.
Sure. Is it possible that their conviction was part of a plea? It's like, oh shit, I can't get out of this, so I got to take a plea deal.
Some of them.
What does that have to do with anything? What?
Maybe.
A lot of them, maybe?
Others we saw with our own lying eyes on tape, battering police officers. Did you watch live on January 6th? What happened?
To be completely honest, I'm pretty novice on this.
Okay.
The secret debate strategy. Yes. I don't know anything about this. I don't know anything about it.
Trying to target, you're saying he's pro-crime, and in my head,
I'm
just
saying,
thinking this law, let me finish, if I can finish for 1 second. If thinking this law, there's a possibility that he might have had other reasons, for example, unifying the country, next chapter, right? That could be the reason. Therefore, it's not pro-crime. There was other reasons. I'm just saying that's a possibility. And if that's
I'm saying it's a possibility, but I'm saying it's irrelevant because if you're released...
You shouldn't even grant that it's a possibility. If he was doing that, it doesn't even make sense. It doesn't even make sense because if you wanted to unite the country with an action and then you do the action and you don't tell the country that you're doing this to unite them, then definitionally you're not uniting the country, right? That doesn't even make any sense. What is it? This argument is the most nonsense thing I've ever heard in my life.
Knowingly releasing violent criminals out into the community, pardoning, not just releasing, then yes, you are being pro-criminal. And I've interviewed police officers.
I don't know about that case.
I've interviewed police officers who have been assaulted.
About which case?
Knowingly releasing violent. And I'm saying it's a possibility, but I'm saying it's irrelevant because if you're knowingly releasing violent criminals out into the community, pardoning, not just releasing, then yes, you are being pro-criminal. And I've interviewed police officers.
I don't know about that case.
I've interviewed police officers who have been assaulted,
don't know anything about
beaten, had to retire from the police office,
don't know anything
bones.
about it.
Can I finish? Let me say that. I'll finish.
I don't know anything about it.
I've interviewed these police officers. They've been beaten by people who they've then seen walk off the streets and then carry on threatening them. Yes, when Donald Trump is responsible for that, you're definitely pro-crime.
Okay, I doubt a lot of the sources.
You doubt police officers who testified to being assaulted.
You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
Thanks.
There will never be an event with more video footage than J6. They just, if you don't believe this, I mean, what are you gonna? But even my own mom, I said I was arguing with her. My mom thinks that Ashley Babbitt had her back to the wall, away from the window when she got shot. My mom thinks that they just the Secret Service were pointing through the window and just shot her when she was just standing back.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Nice to meet you, Medhi.
So you claim that your main claim is that Trump pardoned some people from January 6th. By the way, I was there. I saw it all firsthand. About a football field away. There's smoke in my eyes. Bloodied. It was crazy. So you claim that your main claim is that Trump pardoned some people from January 6th. By the way, I was there.
Some people. It was every single convicted person. Okay, you subhuman filth.
I saw it all firsthand. About a football field away. There's smoke in my eyes. Bloodied. It was a crazy day.
Were you convicted of any crimes?
No, of course not, because I didn't enter the building. Stay very peaceful. But your entire claim is that he pardoned.
That's not my entire claim.
That's basically you keep bringing it up. All you do is bring it up.
Okay,
let me say this.
Are you okay with this pardoning of Paul Wolchak, who stole money from his employees?
You keep talking about
9 former members of Congress. That's my claim. He keeps pardoning criminals. That makes him.
You know who else pardoned a big criminal?
Go on.
Joe Biden.
Hunter Biden was pardoned by his father. He did crack cocaine, and he had hookers there too.
Crack cocaine and hookers. My God. What?
I'm with you all. I'm with you all.
But then why don't you claim that Biden? Why don't you claim that Biden?
I think Joe Biden in that instance was pro-crime. He shouldn't have done it.
Well,
he
so
shouldn't
he's
have done it.
overall pro-crime just because he did that.
No, but Joe Biden didn't just. So if it was just a pardon, then you'd be fine. But I already mentioned there's also the fact that Joe Biden wasn't actually convicted criminal in office. Trump has committed crimes. Trump hangs around with criminals. He spent much of the 80s hanging around with the New York mob. He hung around with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell.
Well, that whole I can keep going. Jeffrey Epstein lived in West Palm Beach, the area, and that's the closest golf course he could go to.
Do you think?
He's very rich,
Donald Trump is in the Epstein files?
So he paid.
Do you think Donald Trump is in the Epstein files?
As soon as Trump found out,
do you think Donald Trump is in the Epstein files?
No, I do not.
Why is Elon Musk lying?
Let me explain this. Okay. He lived in the area in Mar-a-Lago, near Mar-a-Lago, so he bought, obviously, a ticket to go in there. Yep. As soon as Trump found out that Epstein had done all those bad things, immediate ban from Mar-a-Lago.
Okay.
Immediate ban from Mar-a-lago. Yes, it is.
That's not
yes,
true.
it is, 100%.
In fact, Ghislaine Maxwell recruited some of the girls that were abused from Mar-a-Lago.
So listen to this.
From Mar-a-Lago. That's pretty outrageous, right?
Elon Musk tweeted that out in a fit of rage, okay?
It's just unbelievable. It's just unbelievable.
Do you really?
Sometimes people tell the truth when they're angry.
Do you really
the truth comes out when people are angry sometimes.
So Kash
we might see that today.
Kash Patel literally said that Elon Musk had no access to the Epstein files. So,
Kash Patel said that Epstein.
So who lied then? Who lied? So did Doge lie? Did Elon Musk lie? Or
he killed himself? Do you agree with that?
Whatever he says goes. Then yeah, I don't care.
You do?
He knows more.
Nice, the cult.
Information than
a
I
lot
do.
of MAGA people are upset.
He knows more
Kash
information than I
Patel
do. But here's the actual claim.
Suddenly people are trying to vote you out because you said you agree with Kash Patel and Epstein.
He knows more information than I do.
Pause. That's time. Please return to your seat.
Good to meet you.
Yeah.
Take care.
Surrounded is now a podcast, available wherever you listen. Search Surrounded, plug in, and stay part of the conversation. Anywhere, anytime.
My next claim is that Donald Trump is defying the Constitution.
This is easy. I would just sit down and say, he's clearly not defying the Constitution because the Supreme Court will agree with him every time he does. Based.
It's a pleasure to meet you, sir.
Mehdi, lovely to meet you.
So I would say that with Trump being anti-Constitution, I don't really care, to be quite frankly.
Okay.
Because in regards...
I don't care, and this fucking retard clapped! Ah, he tried to clap.
With
Did you
Trump
see him?
being anti-Constitution, I don't really care, to be quite frankly.
Okay.
Because in regards...
Oh, no. How? If there's anything that makes America America, it's the Constitution. But okay.
regards to the Constitution is a document that should seek to serve us. Yes. And when it fails to seek to serve us, that can be amended. Laws can be changed. And quite frankly, the fact is, we're defending things in this country that shouldn't be defended. The First Amendment should not defend pornography and making children and women be victimized. Making women and children be victimized as a result of that. I think things like blasphemy shouldn't be allowed per the First Amendment. I think that, quite frankly, there are a lot of legal processes that are enabling criminals and bad people to fully enact their will in this country in the name of the Constitution or following the Constitution. So, quite frankly, if Trump is anti-Constitution, good, and I think he should go further.
So this is wonderfully revealing of the modern conservative mindset. So I appreciate you.
Well, but also he should just say I win and then bring the next person up, right? Because the claim is Donald Trump is defying the Constitution, and it sounds like this guy agrees with it. He just is okay with that.
Spelling it out so openly. Just checking, do you support the Second Amendment?
I do.
Okay, surprise, I was shocked to hear that. I'm saying that Donald Trump is defying the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, the 14th Amendment. He's thinking of defying the 12th and 22nd Amendments. You're saying you don't care about the Constitution, but actually you do because you quite like the Second Amendment. You just don't like the bits that you disagree with. Can I just be clear on that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm more than willing to amend it and include
whenever
the
it's in your
Second
favor.
Amendment. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So can Democrats do the same when they're in office?
No, absolutely not. Because
so you don't
it's the
believe in
friend
democracy?
Enemy. No, I don't. Absolutely not.
What do you believe in?
Autocracy.
Why did they debate? I was going to say debate and invite. I don't understand why. Jubilee invited fascists and authoritarians to this? They couldn't have found more normal MAGA people. I guess a lot of the MAGA online are like this, but Jesus, they went real to the hardcore right on this.
By who?
Honestly, quite frankly, anyone who is in line with Catholic teaching.
Donald Trump is not.
Oh, he's a groiper. Okay, based.
Catholic.
Of course, he's not. I completely agree, and that's part of the problem.
You don't support Trump?
No, I don't. I didn't even vote for him. I wrote in like John Porker.
Do you support the last pope? That always triggers the far-right authoritarians.
Someone. I can't even remember.
Why did you vote if you don't believe in democracy and you want autocracy?
Well, because quite frankly, I voted. I kind of voted just to.
I came with this argument, but I'm bored of my own argument. I'm much more interested in this. So
yeah, absolutely.
How do we get to an autocracy?
I think, quite frankly, that if we are able to enact local leaders.
Who is the we, by the way?
I think, quite frankly, these far-right conservatives sitting right around
White people?
Yeah.
No
Absolutely.
brown people. So,
well, actually, I have quite.
Some of the people in this room don't make the cut from what I can see visually.
Actually, hold on for a moment. I do think that there are people who happen to not be white who do actually have history in this country and have roots in this country. For instance, from the Mexican-American War, we subsumed a lot of territory of people who have far stakes in this country who happen to be Hispanic or what have you. I'm for defending the traditional demographics of this country, which is majority white.
So, he remembered this. This is why I'm saying the xenophobic arguments are a lot more in depth, and because of that, they're stronger and they're more. Like, racism is something that's, I think, in my opinion, is kind of easy to defeat in a person. Like, you just introduce them to a few people that they are racist against, and you more or less like can get rid of it. But deeper ideologies, like things relating to xenophobia. I mean, xenophobia can be shallow as well, but like the xenophobic ideas that a lot of the Trumples have now are much more sophisticated, such that they can actually have allotments for certain types of Hispanic people, certain types of Black people. Like this guy just said it.
Hey, how does the United States? I mean, we've gone so off topic, but how does the United States look like under you? Sorry, what's your name?
My name is...
He's going to say how it looked before 1964 or whatever, 1965.
Well, my name's Connor. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Took a little bit of a doubt there.
Oh, well, I use a pseudonym online.
Fair enough.
But
Connor,
fair enough.
How would Connor's America look? What would it look like?
Well, quite frankly, I think we would deport people who shouldn't be here.
No, I didn't ask about deporting. What does the government look like?
What does the government look like?
Yeah.
I would say, quite frankly, it's under a sort of benevolent leader, such as
Where does he
Franco.
come from?
It could be a kind of aristocratic class. Could be someone
who picks the autocrat?
Frankly, the people. I mean, we could hold a vote on it. Kings were
isn't that democracy?
Well, sure. You can have a vote to get to that state.
And then no more votes afterwards?
Absolutely.
Wow.
100%.
Wow. And if that autocrat kills you and your family, you're fine with that?
Well, I'm not going to be a part of the group that he kills, because that's the whole thing.
How do you know?
Autocrats
tend to kill everyone,
Carl
even their own
Schmitt makes
supporters.
this point very well in his work. It's the friend-enemy distinction, right?
Carl Schmitt, the Nazi theoretician?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't care.
Are you a fan of the Nazis?
I frankly don't care being called a Nazi at all.
I didn't say that. I didn't actually say that. I said, are you a fan of the Nazis?
Well, they persecuted the church a little bit. I'm not a fan of that. But
what about the persecution of the Jews?
Yeah,
well, I mean, I certainly don't support anyone's human dignity being assaulted. I'm a Catholic.
But you don't condemn Nazi persecution of the Jews?
I think that there was a little bit of persecution.
We may have to rename the show because you're a little bit more than a far-right Republican.
Hey, what can I say?
I think you can say, I'm a fascist.
Yeah, I am. Absolutely.
I'm just checking who's clapping just to get my set of where everyone is on this. Because you know that millions of people are going to be watching you on YouTube and checking out who the fascists and the Nazis are.
I'm not ashamed of that whatsoever.
No, clearly you're not.
During the pre-war period, prior to World War II, it was only those parties that properly enacted the people's will. That's why they won. The conservatives were fat cats.
Are you in favor of killing people who aren't like you?
Quite frankly, I'm not in
as a last resort.
As a last resort, if you will.
Oh, well, he killed communists. He killed people who raped nuns and killed priests.
What about children who he killed and women who he killed?
What are you talking about? He never killed any women or children. He was Catholic.
He only killed combatants. Is that what you're claiming?
Yeah, he only killed combatants.
Never killed any innocent people.
The White Terror was only punishing those people who did acts of terrorism. And again, are you supporting like raping innocent women? Nuns, dude. Killing priests? I mean, priests don't brandish guns and kill people.
You just refuse to condemn the Nazi Holocaust, my friend. I don't think you're in a position to ask anyone any questions.
I quite frankly don't care what you think about me. If I'm a Nazi and being a Nazi, being a Nazi means upholding human dignity, because I even believe in your dignity. I don't, in a state that I was running, I wouldn't want to hurt you or anything like that. But quite frankly,
I don't debate fascists.
Okay. So do you concede then? I mean, why?
Do I concede you're a fascist who won't condemn the Nazis?
Yeah.
Yes, I concede that.
Okay, great. So I mean, what are we doing here? Because I mean, you just seem offended.
What you're doing here,
you just seem offended, to be quite frankly. Like,
I'm offended by people who can't condemn the Nazis. Yes, I am.
Okay. Well, I condemn the evils that they did, but I don't really care about being. Yeah, sure. I don't care about being called a Nazi. Is the whole thing.
I never called you a Nazi. You called yourself a Nazi, a fascist, and a General Franco supporter.
Well, yeah, I am a General Franco supporter. He was awesome. He was so super cool, quite frankly. Because the whole
and
thing.
You don't believe in democracy.
I don't believe in democracy.
What are you doing here at a televised debate? This is democracy. I want to debate and disagree.
Because it is the means to support an end. The reason we have free speech now is because we want to be openly talking about our opinions so we can get the state that we want. But it doesn't mean upholding free speech after we win. Again, I mentioned
the only good thing about this fascist moment we're in is that you guys are so open about it.
The whole reason I mentioned
one of the issues that Mehdi has, and I don't know if it's because he's in more sane circles or I could have the perception error and I'm in more insane circles, is I think Mehdi thinks it's like a huge W, but it's not actually. Like, a lot of MAGA, I mean, you've seen it, right? A lot of MAGA will look at this and be like, I think I kind of, Like I've said this for, I think I might have said this after Trump won. If you put fascism in other words, I think most Republicans would be on board with it, for sure. I just think they would.
This fascist moment we're in is that you guys are so open about it.
The whole reason I mentioned Carl Schmitt earlier, and you kind of blew past him, is the friend-enemy distinction. Even liberals, when they take power, they want to enact policies and they want to enact protections for their people and their ideas, and they're willing to punish their.
I think you're in more insane circles. Destiny, I'm not sure this guy represents a lot of people. I think most people are just stupid. He's definitely on the more extreme side of things, but I mean, how many times have we seen a new thing over the past 6 months where it's like, this will be the thing that sinks him? The Signal chat thing is horrible. Somebody's going to get fired, right? The Epstein thing, this will be the one that does it, right? Bombing Iran, this is a huge divide in the party, right? The H-1B visa thing, this is destroying them, right? Elon Musk leaving, like this will be the end, right? Like, I think it is hurting a little, but this is really crazy.
Enemy. And so I'm the same way. I'm like, hey, if you're going to punish me, I'm going to get in power, and I'm going to frankly punish you when you try to leverage power against me. Just that simple.
I'm not sure what you want to say.
Hey, it is what it is.
All right. Pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seats.
It's a pleasure to meet you, sir. I can't say the same, but thank you. Good to meet you, Mehdi.
How should Mehdi even respond to this? I don't know. It's like we're coming down to like fundamental differences in values, I guess. You be aggressive and you try to attack the other person and demonstrate how their values wouldn't get them to the world that they want, maybe, something like that. But I mean, it would be an in-depth, you're getting into like very like in-depth arguments on politics and philosophy at that point. Yeah.
To meet you, sir. All right. So I kind of want to start at the basics or the foundation. I want to see.
Can I just check?
Yes.
Are you a fascist?
No.
Okay.
I don't. I describe myself as, I think, just a Christian.
Fair enough.
I'm a devout Christian.
Good to hear.
So, I want to start like, what is your connection to the Constitution, and why do you love it so much? Like, what makes it so important that Trump would defy something like the Constitution to you personally?
Great questions.
This guy is racist or xenophobic or like, why does it, he keeps saying to you personally, this is going to become about where his parents are from, but we'll see, maybe I'm wrong.
First connection is I'm an American citizen. I naturalized American citizen, took a pledge to this country, to the Constitution. As a previous speaker has said, the Constitution's not perfect. A lot of things I don't like about it. I don't like the Second Amendment. There's various amendments. I don't like the way the Senate is set up. I'm sure there's things you don't like about the Constitution. The difference is, I don't think you can just illegally defy the Constitution. I think each and every one of us can make up whatever we want. Certainly presidents who are elected with an oath, right? Donald Trump took an oath to preserve, protect, defend the Constitution. And now when he's asked on television, isn't it your job to uphold the Constitution? He said on NBC, I don't know, which goes against his oath. And I'm identifying specific amendments where he is violating. He's only 6 months into his presidency, defying the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, the 14th Amendment. He wants to defy the 22nd Amendment and be president for a third term. This is the problem we have right now. Free speech is under assault. The free press is under assault. Due process is under assault. The right to be in your home and not be invaded by federal agents, the Fourth Amendment, is under assault. So that for me is a problem.
Okay. Well, I'd like to start to say I really don't find the Constitution that important. I find it to be like a 300-year-old document. And it was created to defy the country that subjugated your ancestors in India. And then your parents probably moved from India to Britain. And then you move here to tell us that we should listen to a piece of paper that you were never even connected to begin with. So I want to say, like, if I don't care about it, why do you care about it so much?
How do you run a country without any kind of laws or due process? And by the way, you do care about it, because without the First Amendment, you wouldn't be sitting here.
Oh, I agree with the First Amendment. And I think
so do you agree with Donald Trump's crackdown on the First Amendment? He's imprisoning people for their speech. He's threatening free speech media organizations. He's threatening peace.
Like before, they would hide behind it, that like paradox of tolerance or whatever, where you would say, oh, well, the only reason they want free speech is so that they can use it to take away your free speech. And they would say, no, that's not true. But now they'll just be open about it. The last guy, the one redneck dude, I think was basically saying as much, where he's like, yeah, I'm okay with voting in democracy and everything now, but just because I can use it to get rid of it in the future. And this kid will probably say the same, is my guess. They're not gotchas for these people. They'll just own it. They'll say, yeah, I'm cool with him doing all this now.
Peaceable assembly. These are all rights under the First Amendment. Why aren't you bothered by that as a conservative who claims to love the First Amendment?
So I don't like the First Amendment. I like free speech.
Okay,
so
the First Amendment is what guarantees free speech. I'm from the UK, by the way. I'm from the UK, which is a democracy. We don't have the First Amendment. No, that's one of the things I do like about the Constitution. I wish the UK did have a First Amendment.
So people
I'm a
get
journalist.
arrested for praying outside abortion clinics and stuff like that, right?
So you're opposed to people being arrested for speech crimes, I assume.
Well, it depends what it is. If it's like the people...
so you're like one of the previous speakers. You don't, as long as it's someone who agrees with you, you don't mind the crackdown.
No, I support...
Either we consistently support principles or we don't.
I support free speech 100%.
Okay.
I don't think anyone...
So do you think Donald Trump is defying the Constitution by cracking down on the First Amendment?
He has a right to sue people if he wants to. Let's see if he says it.
So I think he's cracking down on free speech, like the deportation of Mahmoud Khalil, who was just
released from prison by a judge, saying,
"Oh, we're going that way." Okay,
his First Amendment rights are violated.
And I agree with the judge, and I disagree with Trump deporting them. But I think that's more a matter of free speech and not the Constitution.
What?
I think that's pedantry at this moment. I think you've conceded that he is cracking down on free speech, which is the First Amendment. So he is defying the Constitution. So it's a pleasure to be in agreement with you, sir.
All right, pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Hey, how's it, sir? I'm Medhi.
Medhi, great to meet you. My name is Kai. Do you, Medhi, believe that the Constitution...
Oh, we used to have this guy on our stream sometimes. This is a Cozy streamer, right? Is he moderated or is he still like an ultra fascist?
Is important and good.
Overall, yes.
Do you believe that do you, Mehdi, believe that the Constitution is important and good?
Overall, yes.
What, how many gripers are on this show? Are like half the people here gripers?
Do you believe that that Constitution can be eroded through democratic processes?
What do you mean by erode?
The original intention of the Constitution being destroyed through a purely, democratic or legal process.
I'm not sure I agree with that.
Isn't this the jazz music guy? No, this was a guy who was like, was he like 18? He was really young, but he was really into lifting and shit.
Okay. I think if you're democratically amending the Constitution per the rules of the Constitution, that's fine. If we could find a constitutional way to get rid of the Second Amendment, I'd be pro that.
So let's pose a hypothetical.
Yeah, you might have a gym flare in chat.
Wherein the entire population of the United States has drastically changed.
Yes.
And the population now has completely different intentions about what to do with the country. Let's say it wants to give it all back to Mexico, dismantling the United States of America. If that's the case, then what's the use of the Constitution? It hasn't defended the country. In fact, it's allowed for its destruction.
I don't understand the premise. How did the whole country change?
Demographic replacement, mass migration. I mean, we're seeing a change in demographics. And there's...
What is the... I do want to talk about immigration today.
I hope we talk about it.
Everyone's itching in this group to get to immigration.
Yes, sir.
I've saved it. I've saved it for you all. But given we're on the sense of the Constitution, and you asked the question, what is the proportion of immigrants in this country? What proportion of the population is foreign born?
It's very difficult to make.
Why do you think these types of people are so young? Is fascism really appealing to young people? I'm 20 and can't understand why they want this. The same reason why young people are obsessed with socialism and everything too, right? I mean, like extremist ideologies are really fun and cool when you're young and you haven't really had much experience in the real world yet, so they seem more tenable, like they could actually work or maybe happen because you just don't have any experience yet. So
measure, because the actual projections of the number have been changing more rapidly.
But what is currently the best estimate of official
I think it was about 15%.
Yes,
yeah,
just under 15%.
Which is, by the way, more actually than the original estimate was. So
but 15% of the people are going to change the country, change the Constitution. How's that going to work? It's actually a nightmare. As someone who wants to amend the Constitution and get rid of things like the ridiculous way the Senate is set up, or the Second Amendment on guns, or various other things, it's really hard to change the Constitution. They made it almost impossible. You know, last time we had a constitutional amendment,
you know,
like 20, 30 years ago.
I understand, which is why
I think members of Congress pay.
Which is why no, I get it.
So where are you getting this scenario where 350 odd million people all become foreign-born migrants or the children of migrants, immediate migrants, even though America is a nation of migrants, and then abandons the Constitution and give the country back to Mexico? Outside of your imagination, where is that happening?
Let's bring it back to the actual discussion. What you did is you entertained my hypothetical, but then instead of sticking to the point of the Constitution, you said, well, how would you bring about your hypothetical? And then when
because you missed out the part where the Constitution is quite hard to change.
Hold on. I understand that. I gave you.
I also wanted to get a sense of where you are, and you're a great replacement guy. So that's fine.
Okay. Yeah, and you're a real good journalist because you don't talk to people who identify as like a political ideology. I mean, that's a very liberal idea.
I don't debate fascists. I'll talk to them.
And frankly, that's upsetting. I think there's a big problem when we value freedom of speech so much, but any real journalist is not going to talk to somebody because they identify with a politically incorrect ideology.
Just talk to the guy in front of you. What are you talking about?
You literally stop talking to him, and then everybody got to vote
debating versus talking is very different.
Okay.
It's pointless. Right? He doesn't believe in free speech.
Okay.
He doesn't believe in democracy.
He was freely speaking with you. You're the one who shut up.
No, he said very clearly. He said I support free speech so that I can get one election. After one election, my guy comes in, and after my guy comes in, nobody gets to speak or vote again. Why would I debate that?
We listen to your conversation.
Well, I'm reminding you what was said because you just
misrepresented. Let's bring it back to the Constitution.
Please do. First, Fourth, Fifth, 14th Amendments. Those are the ones I'm saying Trump is defying. Do you support that or do you deny them?
I believe that the Constitution is valuable because it represents particular interests of the founding stock of Americans who made this country great.
Do you think due process is important? Some would say that's at the very core of American Constitution.
Fifth Amendment. And what I think makes the Constitution function, what allows it to save this country and to actually make it work are the people who are...
I'm not sure where you're going with this argument.
Hold on. I'll show you.
Is Trump defying the Constitution? That's my claim. You can have these weird hypotheticals.
We're taking it into a different meta, which is what's the function of the Constitution?
I'd rather not have your...
You already did.
Yeah,
literally just 5 minutes ago when you took it to immigration.
Now I don't want to.
Okay. Let's bring it back.
I want to bring it back to the First, the Fourth, the Fifth, and the 14th Amendments and the 22nd Amendments. Either you say, hold on, you've got two very good positions here. One is to say, I don't think he's defying them.
I wonder if these people even really support Trump. Trump doesn't seem as far gone as them, and surely they think he's too moderate. Yeah, but they saw him as a useful tool originally. Now, Fuentes hates Trump at this point, I think because Trump is just not doing anything that Fuentes thought he was going to do or wanted him to do, even on the margins. I don't know if these people, like if Kai is still a fan of Nick. I think Nick bled a lot of fans over... like in the whole during that whole Kanye shit, I think Nick ended up bleeding a lot of fans for a variety of reasons. Like some big members left his movement, and then the kind of Cozy, I think, kind of failing, and dumb interpersonal drama and stuff. So I don't know if Kai Clips is still a fan of Fuentes or not. Obviously, he has a lot of the mannerisms and everything still, but.
And I'll say why you're wrong. Or you say, I don't care that he's defined them, as one of your colleagues said, in which case, I don't know where this conversation goes because you don't believe in democracy.
That's fair. Do you think it's wrong to dismantle the Constitution?
So there's two options ahead of you.
No,
Do you
hold on.
agree?
This is important.
Do you
What
agree?
I'm doing
So
is
is Donald Trump? Okay, let me ask a question about it. You're asking me questions. You're not answering the basic point.
Well,
do you think Donald Trump is dismantling the Constitution? Can we
be-
agree that Donald Trump is dismantling? Because I'll agree with you on that. I think he is dismantling the Constitution.
I think he's
illegally, unconstitutionally.
I think he's interpreting it in ways that are more.
Which judges do not agree with him on.
Okay, hold on.
Which the Supreme
hold
Court
on.
has not agreed with him on.
And the judges don't agree with the people who wrote the Constitution.
How do you know that?
Okay, let's take your example of the Second Amendment. Let's say that a bunch of
I didn't give the Second Amendment.
No,
I said
hold on,
first,
hold on.
fourth. You don't want to talk about the ones.
Can you make a list of crazy things Trump has done that we can refer to when we are in debates with people? I mean, like, conservatives just say they haven't heard about any of it. I mean, what do you mean? There's a billion crazy things that on their own should be immediately disqualifying for President of the United States. The fact that the Department of Homeland Security doesn't know what habeas corpus is fucking insane. That's an insane thing to not know about. The whole Signal chat fiasco was fucking ridiculous. That the editor of the Atlantic was somehow drafted into a Signal chat that's being held outside of a secure area that's not being recorded anywhere for records or anything to be looked up at later on, which is in violation of at least code, if not law. I mean, there's a million. Donald Trump suing journalists and suing social media platforms for banning his account, getting massive settlement payouts from people that showed up at his fucking birthday party. I mean, like, the list is never ending. No one cares.
Let's take your example of the Second Amendment. Let's say that a bunch of
I didn't
judges...
give the Second Amendment.
No,
I said
hold on.
Fourth. You don't want to talk about the ones I've given.
You're interrupting me. You're
ignoring me. First, fourth, fifth, 14th, 22nd Amendments. Those are my amendments that I came with today. If you don't want to debate them, just say so.
I'm trying to understand your ideology. You believe that dismantling the Constitution is okay when it's about parts of the Constitution that you disagree with.
Amendments.
You would be
Trump coin, yeah. The whole crypto scandals are fucking insane. Like those are like the worst crypto scams potentially in the world. I don't know who's been scammed more. How much was lost on Mt. Gox at the time?
Fine getting rid of the Second Amendment, even though that would be a dismantling of the Constitution.
No, because it would be done via Constitution means I'm not the one sitting here like your pal.
Okay, you have agreed. You have agreed the Constitution.
I'm not the one saying you just get rid of them willy-nilly.
I don't agree. We're ramping up.
I don't agree that Joe Biden should come in and say by executive order, if Joe Biden put out executive order saying Second Amendment...
There's no more birthright citizenship? That was crazy. By executive order? Really?
No longer applies. I can round up everyone's guns. I don't agree with that.
Your result is exactly the same.
I don't agree with them. No, but I don't agree with the method of doing it. It's unconstitutional.
That's fine.
He would have been defying the Constitution, and I would have said so, but you can't bring yourself to say so. We've been sitting here for several minutes. All of your friends have seen me ask you several times, do you agree that Donald Trump is defying the 1st, 4th, 5th, 14th, and possibly 22nd Amendments?
I understand that you came in here. What you are attempting to do is simply frame this conversation like you did with the first claim about Donald Trump. But then when anybody asks you any kind of question that presses you to the least degree...
No, I answered. I said I would dismantle the Constitution, but I would do it constitutionally, not by executive order.
So what I'm trying to get to is to prove to everybody who's watching that what you care about is not the Constitution in what it represents or creates. You care about the Constitution only insofar as it allows you to achieve your political worldview. We agree on that.
No, I care about the Constitution because I don't think
no.
presidents should be fascist dictators and violate the Constitution. That's what I'm saying.
You care.
And he is I don't think the president should have the power to lock you and me up if we write an op-ed that he doesn't like. I don't think the president should be able to crack down on us if you and I decide to go protest outside his parade. I don't think the president should be able to deprive you and I of due process or come into our homes without a warrant.
And I think
let's not agree.
That's why I'm scared. I'm worried we got to a point we can't get back from. If people now are comfortable being fascists, I worry the tipping point has already passed. Maybe.
Agreement then.
All right, pause. You've been voted out.
I'm glad
it's good to meet you. It's good to
meet you, Kai. Hey, how are you? I'm Medhi.
Hi, I'm Jessica.
Nice to meet you.
How are you? So Trump is defying the 1st, 4th,
5th, and 14th, and maybe the 22nd soon.
Okay. So I want to focus on the 1st and the 5th.
Okay.
So you say that Trump is defying the First Amendment. Can you give me an example?
For example, he banned the Associated Press from attending White House events. A Trump-appointed judge said that was against the First Amendment. He's been cracking down on media organizations he doesn't like over their speech. If they say stuff he doesn't like, he, for example...
Cracking down how?
So, for example, he banned the Associated Press from attending White House events because
I
they
can't go
said
to the White House
it's
either.
the Gulf of Mexico. That's not how...
You're not a media... You're not a media outlet, and you didn't get banned because you didn't because you refused to accept the name change from the Gulf of whatever the fuck it's called right now. I don't even know if this is a permanent change or not.
Works. They were already at the White House. He deprived them of access, so he punished them for their speech.
But are they allowed to go to the press?
Which is why a judge he appointed, Trevor McFadden, said this was contrary to the First Amendment. A Trump-appointed judge. He's called MSNBC and CNN illegal. Media organizations are not ipso facto
But that's free speech.
illegal.
He can call...
Like that. This is free speech. They should just be fucking... I hate being on YouTube. There are so many things I would say right now that would get me arrested probably, actually. Never mind.
Whatever they want.
Attacking the media?
Yeah, he can
by the
attack
president as the executive?
Yeah, he can say whatever he wants. That's literally the First Amendment.
He can say whatever he wants.
Absolutely.
But the media can't say what they want.
They do.
But he's going after them. He's suing them. He's using lawsuits to crack down on the press.
They
Presidents
used
have not done that
lawsuits
before.
to give him 34 felonies that Hillary Clinton did.
No media gave him a lawsuit.
No. But
Those were criminal charges. The indictments were issued by grand juries, and then the convictions came from a jury.
But people on the Democratic side.
We don't talk about the Democrats.
Okay. So he can call them whatever he wants because that's a freedom of speech.
He's threatened to imprison reporters.
He absolutely.
He wants to imprison. He said reporters should go to prison for reporting. He threatened some of them with prison rape. Right? That is against the First Amendment.
Okay. How is that against the First Amendment?
You don't think sending reporters to prison for reporting that he does that?
Did he do that?
He wanted to. He said so. I would like them to go.
I would really like to.
So other people stopped him doesn't mean he's not defying the Constitution.
So
he also said if you turn up.
Excuse me. He can want to do something.
Yes.
That doesn't mean he will or he can.
Okay.
And I think he's very.
Well, I've already
aware
given an
of
example of something he did do to the Associated Press, but okay.
Yeah, okay, so the Associated Press isn't allowed in the Oval Office, which is his office, that's his executive space.
Okay.
And they are allowed in the press room, just like CNN, just like The Guardian.
Which he thinks are illegal media organizations.
He can think whatever he
calls
wants.
the media the enemies of the people.
You called him a fascist.
Yeah.
Mehdi Hasan is a journalist. This is another thing that's like very strange to me for a lot of these conservative types, is they seem to place the same amount of responsibility on the president of the United States as they would on any random fuck citizen. This happens a lot when I go on Pures and I'll be like, look at these things that Donald Trump is saying. And they'll be like, well, what about this thing that this random person on Twitter said? It's like, that person's not the fucking president. Oh, that one degenerate, dipshit, subhuman woman, who was the one who did the, it wasn't Tommy Lauren, it was some other fucking bimbo dipshit who was like, well, you guys champion George Floyd or something. And I'm like, why the fuck are we comparing George Floyd to the president of the United States? Oh, was it Lily Gaddis? Was it her? I don't remember the clip.
I just think it's funny that the morally superior liberals are so quick to be like, Trump's a felon, he's a bad guy, and all these things, you know, and they're like, no, felons should be able to vote and do all these things. They're like, unless it's Donald Trump, but...
Like, what is the comparison here?
George Floyd was apparently an amazing person, so...
Well, George Floyd was brutally murdered by a police officer who was convicted of brutally murdering him. And unfortunately, we saw it all on a cell phone. Otherwise, it would have probably never been reported. I can see you shaking your head there, Destiny. You want to say
this happens all the time. Whenever you debate conservatives, I mean, it's happened here, it's going to happen in other places. It'll be like, here's the standards for Republican lawmakers. And then they'll point to like people on Twitter on the other side. Like, well, what about that person? I don't remember voting for George Floyd for president or nominating him for president. The idea that that's your basis of comparison, like, oh, you got a problem with Donald Trump? What about George Floyd? It's just such a hilariously telling, I think, example.
He was also a criminal with that overdose, but that's another situation.
That still doesn't get him any closer to being nominated for president. The Democratic Party. I don't understand what the comparison is for.
It's just funny to have different standards. You're like, this is fine, but this isn't fine. That's the whole point of that. You don't need to read that deeply into it. It's not.
Well, it's funny to have different standards for different people. Isn't that the point, to have different standards for different people? Like,
yeah.
the point is
I know, once again, that's a joke. It goes far over the
I wouldn't do this because I already have enough death threats and all this other shit. But dude, a Kino fucking video would be to get like, go to like a fucking go to like some grade school or high school and see if you can get like 10 classmates or whatever, or not classmates, but like 10 students to like go into like a swimming pool and then get like a hose and like spray water above them and be like, I want to see if these 10 kids drown. And then if they don't, demand that we test all of the children who died in Texas for fentanyl in their blood to see if they actually drowned or if there was something else going on there. That would be way too fucking edgy, but it would be a fucking hilarious video.
You can say whatever you want.
Yes. But the president is. I'm not the president of the United States with executive power to crack down on the media.
The First Amendment only applies to the citizens, but not the
I
president
never
of the
said that.
United States.
In fact, Donald Trump runs his mouth more than anyone.
Absolutely, he does.
And he doesn't just say stuff. As I said, he actually does stuff. He actually does crack down. For example, Fifth Amendment.
Yes.
Due process.
Yes.
Judges have actually said you have violated due process.
Yes, except for people kind of forget the Clinton, the 1996.
Oh, Clinton, 96. How old is this woman? Was she even alive? 96 Clinton. Okay.
Immigration Reform Act, where you can get limited due process when you have expedited.
American citizens?
No.
What about American citizens?
Who's getting deported? That's American.
2 American children have been deported multiple this year.
No. Their parents have been deported, and their parents saying,
no, the father was American.
My baby.
No.
Was mom legal?
We don't know because they didn't go to court, and the judge.
They don't have to go to court.
Yes.
That's not a part of the due process.
Are you a lawyer?
I'm very aware of it.
Are you a lawyer?
Do I have to be? Oh, we're making an argument.
Are you a lawyer?
It's
a simple question.
No.
Are you a lawyer?
Okay, we're making an argument.
I'll take that as a no. A Trump-appointed judge in the case, not some Marxist lefty judges you people like to call them, a Trump-appointed conservative judge said you cannot, it is illegal and unconstitutional to expel or deport an American citizen without meaningful process. He said that in April. So that was an act that Trump did. It wasn't speech. He got rid of an American citizen from the country without process.
So
that's the Fifth Amendment violation.
Since I'm not up to date on that specific
I'll give you
case,
more.
I'm sure you can. So.
Well, you weren't aware that American citizens are being deported. It's a pretty big story.
Yeah,
maybe if you read the fake news, you might know.
What?
If you read the fake news, you might know what's going on. A lot of American
how would I
citizens
know what's going
have
on
been
if I
deported.
read fake news? I don't watch CNN or Rachel Maddow. Sorry.
That's why you don't know that your fellow citizens have been deported this year.
My fellow citizens.
Are they not? American citizens haven't been deported?
Okay. When a child goes with their
All right, guys, that's time. Please return to your
Nice to meet
seat.
you.
Nice to meet you.
Before we go any further, we want to take a moment to say thanks so much to Straight Arrow News for powering the fact checks in this video. Straight Arrow News is on a mission to raise the bar on journalism in a time of media bias and mistrust. Straight Arrow News helps you quickly find trusted information you need to understand the news, allowing you to dive deep into the topics that matter to you and the world around you.
Thanks.
Their work is trying to break the bias bubble, helping you understand how every side of the political spectrum is reporting on a story so you get a full picture of the news. That's why we're so happy to be partnering with Straight Arrow News. They deliver the facts, unbiased, balanced, and designed to make sense of a complex world, getting you the clarity you deserve and news you can trust. Go to san.com/surrounded or click the link in the description to check it out. By clicking that link, you're not just supporting this channel. You also take advantage of a better way to get the news. Welcome back to Trustworthy Journalism. Thanks again to Straight Arrow News for partnering with us on this episode.
Thank God.
Now, let's get into it.
My next claim is that immigrants overall are good for America. Hi, how are you?
The white woman talking about immigrants. That's exactly what I wanted to see. Yes.
Nice to meet you, Daniela. So in regards to your claim, I just want to start by asking this. Do you
With
care
the bleached hair. Yes.
more about helping Americans or immigrants in this claim?
Immigrants are Americans. I'm an immigrant and an American.
Well, immigrants are not Americans. Americans are people that were born here.
The funny thing is, I mean, depending on how you want to roll it, like a guy who got his green card, just his green card, has already done more work than you to ever even be a part of this country, but you know.
It's not true. What's the basis of your claim for that?
Are you talking about people that get naturalized in the process of becoming American?
14th Amendment. Have you read it?
Okay, yes, I have.
Citizenship clause. It says any persons born or naturalized in the United States are citizens of the United States.
I'm aware of that.
There's about 40 to 50 million naturalized Americans
I'm aware
in
of
this
that.
country.
Yes, but
You didn't seem aware of it because you said Americans versus immigrants.
So, but are you understanding that the process of getting all these immigrants that come in here we've been also, the millions of immigrants, it's up to the millions, it's the last 20 years now, and it has dramatically affected Americans here in the country, which
Positively, I would argue.
People like me and everyone around here, we cannot find homes or even get jobs within our own field that we go to college for, that we get into debt for. And because more blue collar work, especially in construction, agriculture and so forth, and the hospitality industry, we cannot get jobs in those fields. So it requires
Are you looking for a
us-
job in construction
I am
or
not,
agriculture?
no. I went
Just
to
joking.
college.
Okay.
Many people here are in.
So what are you even talking about? Where is it? I want this fantasy world where we kick all the Hispanics out of this country, and it's just some good old hardworking white Americans that are doing all the blue collar, all the roofing jobs, all the like are they really lined up outside these places trying to compete, and they just can't? They're just not getting hired. The obvious answer is like, if you look at the unemployment, it's super low in this country. It's just not the case. But
in college or went to college, but we can't even find jobs in our fields, also because of the H-1B visa program as well. But in regards to just your claim about immigrants specifically, we cannot even get jobs to pay for housing.
Unemployment is at a record low right now, even under Donald Trump. And I'm not a Donald Trump fan, but I would say unemployment under both Biden and Trump has been at record
now do the discouraged worker argument, because you don't know the difference between the U3 and the U6.
low levels.
Okay, is this in regards for American citizens?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm unaware of that statistic, but from what I see,
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. You just had to do that. I don't know about anything about that argument. How can you make an argument that all the jobs are being taken and not even know the unemployment is like the first factor figure that you would come across? Like, we need to have more children in the United States. Well, what's your proposed policy, ma'am? I think that we should start having kids at the age of 3. It's like, well, most women don't have periods that early. It's like, well, I'm not really familiar with any of that process. So, you know, maybe we can make it age 4 then. Like, what? How do you have an opinion on this at all then? She said that, did she say she graduated from college or she's in college? How do you not even, I've never heard of the unemployment rate before.
from what I can
I'm an
see
immigrant
here-
and an American, and I employ many Americans.
We have to come up with some counter for I don't know about that. Well, I know there are counters that I know, but they would all be like bridge burners. Like I wouldn't be able to ever talk to the person again. Because the counter, if somebody says like, well, I don't know anything about that, then you should say, oh, well, then maybe you just shouldn't talk about it. That's the very obvious and easy counter. Like if you don't know anything about this, well, then maybe you should have an opinion on it, or at least not share that opinion with anybody else. Or maybe you should buy a really thick rope. I don't know.
Citizens, both naturalized and the ones born here.
And
I employ
my
Americans.
parents came
Americans as defined by you.
My parents came as immigrants to become naturalized, so I'm not necessarily opposed
Oh,
to
wow.
immigrants.
So you're the child of immigrants.
Correct. I'm a child of immigrants. I was
But
born
you don't
here.
accept that immigrants are Americans.
Not at this moment.
So your
because-
parents are not Americans.
Not at
It always works that way, huh?
this moment.
Hold
No,
on, your parents
they're
are Americans.
citizens. They became naturalized.
You just said you can't be citizens by being naturalized.
No, I was born here, and I'm not
Yeah, you're
opposed
born
to
here.
So your parents aren't real Americans, or?
naturalization. I
But
never
are your
said that I'm
parents-
against
Are
naturalization.
you against naturalization?
No, I never said I was against
You did. You
naturalization.
began. Everyone was here. They can play it back on YouTube. You said Americans or immigrants. Are your parents Americans or immigrants?
No, my parents are United States citizens.
But they're immigrants. You said.
No, they came here as immigrants. However, but
So they
I want
are
to make the
immigrants.
claim
You
that
said,
we can't
I came
even-
here as an immigrant. I'm an
But
immigrant.
at this point, when they came, the United
People
States
aren't happy
economy,
with the way this is going for you.
the United States economy was not at.
It's better now. The American economy is better than it's been
Not
for
from
many
the-
years.
not from the
And I can say
statistics
that
I
as someone
see.
who doesn't
We
like Donald Trump.
We're
Which
giving
statistics
millions
are you
and billions of dollars
Which
to
statistics
people
are you
of,
seeing?
minorities as well as.
Millions and billions? Which one? Because those are a million and a billion. Those are two very different numbers, right? They're between a million and a billion. is about $1 billion. Those are two very different numbers.
The reason the economy is doing badly now is because Donald Trump's tariff policy. Nothing to do with migrants. In fact, the congressional...
Like, did he give you $1,000 or $1? I don't know. He either gave me $1 or $1,000. I don't remember. Okay, well, that's what those are.
I'm an immigrant. I started a business.
I understand because the SBA is giving people billions of loans. They're giving them billions.
I didn't take any loans.
I'm not saying you did, but I'm saying that statistically speaking, they're giving billions of loans.
So should we do statistics? According to statistics, immigrants are 80% more likely to be entrepreneurs than native-born Americans. They're more likely to start businesses and hire Americans.
No, I'm aware of that.
Immigrants are more likely to pay in taxes than take out in benefits. They're more likely to add to innovation and jobs and wages. This is what the statistics show. The Congressional Budget Office. Let me just finish my point and let you come back in. The Congressional Budget Office, which is bipartisan, Republicans and Democrats both use it. They have said that the immigration surge that you mentioned will lead to an extra $9 trillion of GDP over the next 10 years. That amounts to $65,000 per American household. That's $65,000 for each and every one of you holding up a red flag.
Okay, I understand.
All right,
that,
pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Damn. Oh my God.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Medhi.
What's going on, man? Nice to meet you. All right, so first before I start, I need to know what you mean by good. I can talk about the economy, I can talk about culture, I can talk about all those things. I need to know what you mean.
All of them. I'm saying immigrants are good for the economy. They're good for culture.
Lower wages are
they're
good
for
the
society. Where's the lower wages?
What do you mean, where's the lower wages?
Where are the lower wages?
Yeah, so you can
What's the basis for saying no lower wages?
Sure, so you can look at like the STEM industry. It's been in like a complete and total recession. There's been tons of studies like from the economic Policy Institute that shows that like companies like Tesla, companies from like Silicon Valley, they engaged in mass firing of workers around 30.
I'm sorry, why the fuck would you say Tesla in the same breath as any actual real tech like this is like instantly disqualified. I would be so much more amenable to the citizen and IQ race realist arguments if it wasn't the lowest IQ white people that were defending these things. Like these guys come up here like they're fucking Einstein and they need to defend their genetic stock when in reality like the only thing these guys could innovate on is like new ways to fucking, you know, milk a load out of a fucking horse. It's so fucking retarded that these like actual fucking subhuman dipshits come up here and try to argue for being more restrictive on immigration to protect whatever. I don't even know what the fuck you're trying to protect in the country.
5,000, but then they hired around 12,000 H-1B visas, and it's kind of just standard economic thinking.
It's not standard economic thinking. The vast majority of economists and economic studies suggest that there is a negligible, if no impact on wages over time.
That's not
for immigrants. In fact, your colleague mentioned earlier construction. There is actually evidence in construction, yes, but in some industries, in some areas, there is an impact. But overall, no. In fact, a study from the National Bureau of Economic Research found that migrants since 1965 have raised wages and raised innovation.
Who's that by?
National Bureau of Economic.
I'm not gonna make fun of his accent.
Research.
No. But if he was black, you better believe they would.
No, hold on. That's where you publish studies. I'm asking
yes, I didn't memorize the names of the authors.
Yeah, I know you did. Right?
Can you give me the authors you've got?
Hold on. The study you're talking about is from Giovanni Perry, and what he did is he didn't account for aggregation issues, nor did he.
The vast majority of studies.
Let me speak,
please.
Yeah, thank you. Right. So listen, he didn't account for aggregation issues, right? And when you look at like the spatial approach, which is what all these economists use, you're not accounting for the fact that when immigrants come into an area, natives leave. If you look at an occupational approach, where you
natives leave to where? To a different country or to a different city or what? Wait, what is he talking about?
Look at the specific firms that immigration is going into, like Kim, ETAL 2013 did. You find a net negative impact when there's a 10% increase of immigration. You find around a 0.5% decline in wages when it comes to the specific occupations they're going to. So all your studies are flawed.
So 0.5%, weigh that up against what I just mentioned from the Congressional Budget Office, which is a massive boost in GDP per head, which you're not counting for, massive increase in tax revenue, immigrants actually funding the deficits and debts by paying way more in taxes proportionately, including undocumented immigrants. And what's interesting about wages is, I'm in a room full of, I don't know what to call you anymore, conservatives, Republicans, fascists, I don't know. One of you has proudly said that. One of us proudly. Oh yeah, correct. I'm in a room full of correct people. But do any of you actually care about wages? Because
I actually do.
For example, do you support raising the minimum wage?
Absolutely. And you can't do that when you're bringing all these people coming into.
That's not the reason. The Republicans.
So again, I don't know if Mehdi knows it or not. Maybe he'll get there. These people would all be. I think you could describe them as like third positionists. None of the people in this room would be against better social policy. They just want it for Native American stock. When I say Native, I mean like the. There's some legendary composition that they'll allude to of America in 1940 where it was like, 85% white and 5% Hispanic and 10% black or whatever the fuck. And they'll say, we should do 15-hour minimum wage. We should do single-payer healthcare. We should do all these programs, but just for that stock of people. No, not for any of the immigrants that come in. Like, they'll all be in favor of that.
Party blocks the minimum wage. You think Republican politicians don't vote for an increase in minimum wage because they're worried about immigration?
Did I say I vote Republican? Did I say I vote Republican?
Well, I'm in a show that was called 25 far-right Republicans.
That doesn't mean I'm going to support every single Republican candidate.
So you and I, good. So you and I, let's agree. We both support raising the minimum wage. Yes? 100%. $7.25 since 2009. It's lost 30% of its value.
What is this? I don't know what this is, but it's fucking true as fuck.
Stand pardons. And now the final ground to this case. Take a
If you care about wages, we should be raising the minimum wage in this country, not scapegoating migrants who aren't the cause of low wages in the country. You know who's causing low wages? Billionaires, millionaires, and people who won't pay fair wages to their wages regardless.
Like, he's going to agree with all of that 100%.
regardless of whether you are an
Instead of calling them billionaires and millionaires, I'll just call them Jews.
immigrant or a
I get the
native-born
monologue,
American.
right? Now let me respond.
You had
right?
one. You had one
No,
with your
but-
one study that had 0.5% impact. Go.
Yeah, and your study like sucked that you didn't even know who wrote it, right? So like, let's get back to the point,
because,
right?
Because I don't need
and
to
there it
one
goes
study.
again. Yeah,
the
let's hear it.
majority of studies say that wages are not impacted
The
by
majority of your
migration over
studies
time.
are flawed. That's what I'm telling you.
My studies.
Right.
Neither of us are economists. It's the economist
Don't
studies.
assume who I am.
Are you an economist?
I could be.
But
Right.
are you?
I could be.
Are you?
I'm not going to tell you.
Are you?
I'm going to major in economics, right?
Are you an economist?
No, not right now.
Okay, so when I said neither is economist, I was correct.
Just don't assume.
To use your
things.
favorite word.
See here, dude, this is nothing of substance. You look at the red flags; they're coming up. Let me get
That's
to the point.
great, but
so
you're
when you
not an
talk about
economist.
when you talk about the CBO, one thing you're not accounting for here is that they're assuming an equilibrium, right? Do you know what that means? You shouldn't make these type of assumptions. You said earlier that unemployment.
Do I
was
know
like
what it means? I thought we were not doing assumptions.
Okay, hold on. You mentioned we were like at like 4.2% unemployment. Yeah, that's counting people who have part-time jobs. That's counting
That's how
poverty
it's always
wages.
been counted.
Yeah,
I'm against poverty wages.
You
Can
won't
we
let
agree
me
again?
Yes. If you go to like the Lookwood Institute, they calculate it a way where it's like functional unemployment. Okay. If you account for things like just people who make around $25,000 a year, people who have fallen out of the labor market, people who only work part time. If you put
there's our U3, U6 or labor force participation rate. Yes, I actually. Because of the certain argument I'm making right now, I don't actually want to talk about the U3. I want to talk about a non-standard way of measuring unemployment without understanding why people might use some figures or might not use other figures. But yes.
If you count all of those people together and then add on the unemployment, that's around 25% of the population. So when you go, we don't have jobs, we don't have people to do this, and that, and the other. No, yes, we do. Okay, we don't have a labor shortage. We have a good job shortage.
Sorry, and also just the reason why, there's a lot of reasons why you can use some or not, but when people talk about like, oh, well, the U3 is bullshit because it doesn't include, when we talk about unemployment rate, we're talking about the U3 labor statistic, right? U3 unemployment. And there's a variety of numbers people use for a variety of reasons. The reason why we don't include typically things like discouraged workers or people with partial employment is because sometimes people might be choosing that. It might be the fact that the guy that has a $25,000 a year job, that part-time job is enough for him. You might call them underemployed. I've seen different ways of measuring that. But it's not always the case that these people are people that you would want them to be employed. Like they might not be employed for a variety of reasons. And so there's a reason why we tend to favor the U3. Now, the U3 doesn't capture obviously, as he's pointing, it doesn't capture every metric of unemployment. And there are other numbers that you can still look at it. But when people, here's the big thing that you should keep in mind when people want to use a different number, okay? The U3 and the U6 unemployment rate, like they tend to track each other like decently ordinarily. If somebody wanted to talk about some like huge divergence of these, where all of a sudden our U6 unemployment rate is dramatically growing versus the U3 and they can't account for it, then you can have a conversation. I would have to bring. I want to bring up another thing. How do I find another thing? How do I? Somebody like me too. So for instance, our labor force participation rate, I think, has decreased because I think labor force participation rate, I believe, includes, it's a higher age. I think than the U3 includes, it might cut off at 54 or something. But like you expect to see this one rise a bit for labor force participation because of the fact that the population is aging, for instance. Total unemployed persons, job openings, and quits. So as your population ages more, there are going to be more people that aren't participating in the labor market. I think labor force participation, cuts off at 65. I could be wrong on that though. But I just always like, whenever somebody brings up, it's always like a red herring in an argument. Somebody's like the true unemployment. It's like, well, why do you want to talk about this number versus the other one? And is this number significantly different than what was in the past? And my understanding is up to this point, generally not. With the labor force participation rate, that one actually decreasing a little bit, but that's just because of the aging population.
When you keep bringing these people in, and they're taking those jobs.
The good job shortage is the fault of big firms, employers. I'm an employer. I can say that.
Who hires the immigrants?
Who hires the immigrants?
Yeah.
Employers?
Exactly. So when you bring up these big firms,
okay, so
that's the way that these wages down. You understand that, right?
So let me ask you a question. If you got rid of all immigrants coming in tomorrow, moratorium, you think that Republicans and employers of big firms would suddenly raise all the wages?
That's what you believe. Answer what I said.
That's what you believe.
It was a complete.
That's what you believe.
You pivoted the hell
That's what
away
you
from the
believe.
conversation.
Is that what you? I'm on the subject.
Okay.
Do you believe that wages? I'm just wondering how naive you are. You believe that the 1% will raise wages in the federal wage if we stop immigration?
They will be forced to. When you increase labor's relationship to capital, okay, and you give labor more bargaining power because you're tightening the supply of labor.
This is a really hard one for Mehdi to argue against because I think leftists and a lot of progressives actually make a huge stumble here, and that is the assumption that labor is good and firms are bad. So more bargaining power is good for labor and less bargaining power would be good for firms. So like jobs, corporations, these are bad, and labor is good. And that's not true. You want them to reach some kind of healthy equilibrium. But it feels like a truism to say employees should have higher wages. It feels like a truism to just say that, but that's not really the case all the time. You don't want employees to have infinite bargaining power for their wages, because at some point the wage is going to be so high that the firm can't operate at a profit anymore. And now if your marginal cost of goods is less than the amount of money that you spend making the thing, which might be included in marginal cost of goods, you're not going to sell the product, right? If I've got to pay you $100 an hour and I'm making products that sell for, you can make one of these products an hour and it sells for $50, you're just not going to make the product anymore. So there's always like an equilibrium that you want to reach here, which is why natural rate of unemployment is supposed to be like at around 5% to account for frictional unemployment for people that are in between jobs, and you want to have some negotiating ability on the power of employees. You don't want it to be, 20% unemployment, because now you're fucked, and now corporations know that they can, hire you at dirt cheap labor because nobody's got a fucking job. And you don't want unemployment to be like 1 or 2%, because now firms are having to pay out the ass for fucking employment, and the cost of everything is going to skyrocket. You're going to be fucked. So.
When you increase labor's relationship to capital, okay, and you give labor more bargaining power.
But the problem is the left will never acknowledge that maybe labor bargaining power should be capped, right? Like unions should only be able to bargain so much. You don't want to give them unlimited power, and you don't want firms to have unlimited power. You want them to have some kind of like natural equilibrium with each other. Remember, an employee's job, if you are an employee, your interest is you want to work as little as possible for as much money as possible. That's in your interest. And if you're a firm, your job is you want to squeeze the most work as possible for the least pay as possible. And this is the natural tension of labor and of the firm, right? This is why trickle-down economics is also stupid, because like Republicans will say, well, you give firms more money, they'll pay people more money. It's like, that's not necessarily true. Labor is a cost of doing business. You would never pay them more willingly. You always want to pay them the least amount as possible. And employees want to get paid the most as possible.
Power because you're tightening the supply of labor.
Understanding of economics, because
okay, explain I'm wrong.
I'm telling you how you're wrong. Because you're ignoring the fact that when immigrants come into an area, they spend money. They create jobs.
About 1/5 of their monthly income leaves the country.
That's a good thing also, because you don't like USA foreign aid. So this is the point. They create jobs. I came into this country. So far, every one of my assumptions about you has been correct. But listen to me. I am an immigrant. I'm speaking from personal experience.
Didn't you debate this guy on TikTok? I don't know. Some guy in Kick Chat said like 20 times. Apparently I have. Yeah. I don't remember, but maybe I did. Yeah.
Get the hell out.
I don't even like. I should get the hell out.
Yes.
Why? Foreign aid. So this is the point. They create jobs. I came into this country. So far, every one of my assumptions about you has been correct. But listen to me. I am an immigrant. I'm speaking from personal experience.
Get the hell out.
I don't even like. I should get the hell out.
Yes.
Why?
I don't want you here.
Why?
Because you come here and say all this bullshit about how Americans are lazy.
Why?
You push your left-wing politics.
I never said Americans are lazy.
I don't know why you say this.
I never said Americans are lazy.
Yes, you are. You're saying immigrants have to come into this country so they can do jobs that we don't want to do.
I never said those words. When did I say it?
Really?
When did I say it? We're on YouTube. Guys watching on YouTube, rewind to the time where I said immigrants are doing jobs we don't want to do. When did I say those words? When did that came out of my mouth?
Okay, so why do we have to bring in immigrants? Why do we have to bring in immigrants to the country if we have people who are going to do the jobs?
Pause. You've been voted out.
It's nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you.
You're going to have to go.
Nice talking to you. You're going to have to go, bro, is what he said as I left, to an American citizen. Good to know where you stand on immigration. It's not about immigration, is it? That's what it's not about.
Jesus Christ.
Hey, how you doing?
Nice to meet you.
Good to see you. How are you?
Not bad. So, what type of immigrants are we talking about?
What do you mean?
Like any immigrants, or
that's what I said. Immigrants
illegal
overall.
immigrants?
Undocumented immigrants also contribute greatly to the U.S. I say undocumented. I don't think people are illegal.
So, let's put it this way. I mean, I'm an immigrant too, from Iran.
Okay.
There isn't even
How
a
do you
U.S.
feel about the fact that people here want you out? Are you okay with that?
I'm here to debate you, not debate them.
I mean, you're all on the same side. You're part of one group.
No.
You've been clapping each other.
No, I mean, there are conservatives here, there are far-right people here, there are Republicans
How do you feel about
that
guy? What a statement.
Wanting me and you to leave.
But, let's
I'm just wondering. This is the topic of immigration.
It's not
How do you feel about the guy?
It's not about my feelings towards them. Okay. It's about staying on this topic.
Okay.
And
immigrants are good for America, yeah. You and me, we're good for America. And the guy over there wants us to leave. So I'm just wondering how you feel about that.
So I believe that there has to be strict immigration laws.
Okay.
We have to make sure that the people who are coming here have the good intent of the United States in mind.
That's not my claim, but okay.
So
my claim is about immigrants are net positive.
If you just open our borders to every single person that wants to be here, that claims that they have economical hardship in their country.
Who's calling for open borders?
No, I'm just saying,
you're just a straw man. So you're just saying a straw man.
No, I'm saying
you're wasting time with a straw man. No one's calling for open borders. I didn't call for open borders.
You wasted time.
You
wasted time trying to cause division between me and my friends
division.
over here.
He wants you to leave the country. That's a pretty big deal.
Right.
I mean, you can ignore it, but that's your side, my friend.
Like I said, you were the one that tried to derail this argument. By bringing that.
It's literally core to my argument. I'm saying immigrants are good to America. People on your side are saying we should leave. Not me.
And I asked you, what type of immigrants are we talking about? Are we
immigrants
talking about
overall? Overall.
So,
I mean, you want me to get into like particular communities? I'm not playing that.
So you believe that people that come here without
overall,
without any respect to our laws and our border, are going to be good for this country?
No, of course not.
So you can't say that all immigrants overall.
I never said all immigrants.
Well,
I said immigrants overall. Immigrants overall doesn't mean.
I hate this weird, stupid argument about like they play this game a lot. I pointed this out in the past where they'll say something like, oh, like illegal immigrants are criminals. And it's like, well, most of them are probably not criminals, right? But then they're like, well, if you come over illegally, isn't that a crime? And it's like, I mean, if you want to say that, that's fine. But like my guess would be probably like 85 to 90%, maybe I'm overestimating for my own driving habits, but like 85 to 90% of Americans are criminals then? Because like how many people have sped before in a car? Like it's a traffic infraction, it's a crime, right? So if you've done that, you're a criminal now. Like it's such a stupid way to use that term to try to win the argument. It's like, okay.
All immigrants, sorry to break that to you.
All right, so we have to make sure that the people are coming here have the good intent of this country in mind. Agreed?
Yes,
all right,
irrelevant to my claim.
But yeah, how many people jaywalk or have parked illegally or
sure that the people are coming here have the good intent of this country in mind. Agreed?
Yes,
all right,
irrelevant to my claim.
But when you have undocumented immigration going on, you can't vet that. You can't make sure about that. Let me real quick, talk about my background. There is no American embassy in Iran. So in order to come here, you have to stay in line for 4 years, and you have to go through some serious vetting procedure to get here. But I made it, and that process has to be in place because you don't want terrorists to fill this country.
I made it too. I'm an American citizen. I went through lots of vetting. I took my test.
And that's how it should be.
Wants us to leave.
But
he wants us to leave.
When people,
so people don't really care about vetting, do they? But it's not really about vetting, is it, my friend?
People should not have
You're in denial.
People should not have the right to ignore our borders and our laws.
What about those who don't ignore the borders? Should we get to stay?
Of course.
But he says we shouldn't.
Well, I'm not debating him.
You kind of are because you're all together on this.
No, I'm debating you.
Okay. And I'm pointing out to you that your argument is in bad faith because these guys are actually speaking the truth and you're in denial about who's on your side. He wants you gone.
I never claimed that I'm on their side or they're on my side. Okay. I'm here to debate you.
All right, pause.
They deported him from the table.
Majority. Please return to your seat.
Damn. Little bro thought he was on the team.
Nice to meet you.
The question is, immigration is good for America, right?
Overall. If you look at the net...
Are those gang tattoos?
Positives to things like our society, our culture, our food, our economy, our general diversity. I know the D word is a bad word in places like this. I think immigrants have been a net positive. I think if you look at your everyday lives, we all benefit from immigration.
And what kind of conservatives disagree with that?
Some of the guys who told me to leave this place and go back to, I'm not a citizen.
Do you think all conservatives?
No.
Oh.
No, in fact, Ronald Reagan, who's a president I wasn't a big fan of until Donald Trump came along. Now people like Reagan look good in comparison.
You shouldn't call MAGA conservatives and try to draw an equivalent because they're not the same type. Also, you have to understand this is really important as well. And I'm sure if you flesh it out a little bit more, I'm sure Mehdi would agree. And he maybe even understands this, but he's just not using this for the purpose of this argument. The question is not whether or not most conservatives would actively support a particular thing. It's whether or not they would go along with it. I don't think most conservatives actively support the most extremist type of anti-immigrant rhetoric that you hear here, but I think the majority of them would go along with it. And that's really all that matters.
Reagan said in 1986, our country is a nation of immigrants. Our immigrant heritage is our...
Yaron Brook made this argument too. These crimes don't cause immediate harm to people, so there is a distinction between breaking laws or that cause immediate harm to others. Okay.
People like Reagan look good in comparison. Reagan said in 1986, our country is a nation of immigrants. Our immigrant heritage is our strength. He gave an amnesty to 3 million undocumented migrants. He understood the value of immigration. So I'm with Reagan. Although this guy's putting his thumb down there. So Reagan's not popular in right-wing crowds these days.
Yeah. Well, he's popular with me.
Good to hear.
I'm a deferred action of childhood arrivals. I was an illegal immigrant myself.
You should call him a cuck for the entire rest of this thing. You should ask him, did you vote for Donald Trump? You understand that Donald Trump tried to rescind your DACA status, and then for the rest of the conversation, you just say cuck until they vote him out and he leaves. How? Like, you couldn't be further away from your own interest.
I came here when I was 10. I'm what you would call a legal alien now. I didn't have any say on my parents. I'm what you would call a legal alien now.
You're not. That is not true. You are only protected by the courtesy of the president, because DACA, I believe, is a form of TPS. I think it's a temporary protected status. I think. I'll have to look at my immigration thing again for what that exists under, but this is purely by executive. I think I have what kind of there's different I think there are 3 different classes of things that a president can do. Categories of illegal immigrants who have protected status against deportation. These categories are kind of for illegal immigrants. You have DACA, which are deferred action for childhood arrivals. Also, is a separate category even that Obama created for them. But still, like, these are not technically legal immigrants. Temporary protected status is TPS. I think Donald Trump removed most people from this recently. I think Venezuelans were referenced as one of them. And then you've got deferred enforced departures, DEDs. So the idea that he thinks he's magically now legal when Donald Trump literally tried to get rid of DACA, I think in his first term, but a judge ruled against it because he was literally, they were like, Donald Trump's just doing this to be an asshole, basically. Arbitrary and capricious is the actual, it's the legal term for that. And it was a 5-4 decision as well. Jesus. How can you support this guy? Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's not a Trump voter, I guess. I'm just making an assumption because he's on a thing called 20 far-right conservatives.
I didn't have any say on my parents' choices.
Yes.
Do I think that they were well-meaning by wanting to bring me over for a better future? Absolutely. I believe that.
Yeah.
Did they break the law? Yes. Do I agree with people breaking the law? Not necessarily. Do I think that there's ever
should you be deported?
A situation where
ask him, should you be deported?
You can break the law
Get
for the better
personal.
or the greater good?
Get personal.
Should you be
deported?
Ask
him.
It's an interesting issue because I do agree with you that
good to hear.
Everyone is
ask him.
an immigrant in the sense that. Can you tell me a little bit more about your journey?
I've been here 10 years. I'm a proud American citizen. I'm a dual national. I'm British. I'm American. And I am an immigrant who's contributing to this country. So, yes, I'm very much proud of America's immigrant heritage. I'm part of it. And despite what one of the other people said on the show earlier, everyone here, unless you're Native American,
All right,
is a descendant of
pause.
immigrants.
Sorry, you've been voted
Yikes. They didn't want to hear the brown dude talk. Get him out of here. Good one.
out. Please return to your seat.
Thank you, man.
Nice to meet you.
No shot did that guy just stick his tongue out of his mouth while he ran. Hold on.
Nice to meet you.
How's it going?
Hey, how's it going?
Actually, a fan. I see you a lot on Piers Morgan.
Okay, thank you for watching.
Yeah. So my argument is that Americans are what is a nation? A nation is a geographical location full of people who have some things in common. So I think some of the things typically in history are going to be like race, religion, ethnicity, language. These are some of the things that we have to have in common in order to actually have a functioning civilization, especially in self-government. I'm not necessarily a giant fan.
Race, religion, language, ethnicity. We have to have all of these things in common to function as a country? All of them? What does that mean?
Of self-government. I'm a Catholic nationalist. I'm not a fascist.
Oh, Catholic nationalist is another groyper. How many groypers are at this thing? Does Jubilee realize that they're recruiting like 50% groypers for these conversations?
You have to have at least some things in common in order to actually have a civilization. And the immigrants, especially illegal immigrants that come to this country now, disrespect us. They hate everything that we believe. They don't even speak our language. I watched after Trump got elected, I watched an interview of an illegal alien woman crying and about getting deported, and the entire interview was in Spanish. That is a spit in the face. It's disrespect. They don't care about us. They abuse our system.
So you've gone from a teleological argument into just a bunch of series of wild, unsubstantiated
I'm asking
claims.
you, what is
I don't accept any of those claims that they hate everything we stand for, and I don't accept. Well, I'm not going to deal with the teleology. I'm going to deal with the false claims that you made. There's no. What's your basis for saying that all immigrants or all undocumented immigrants hate everything we stand for? It's funny that you said you're a Catholic nationalist. How did most Catholics get to America? Irish Catholics, Italian Catholics, immigration. Much of the people coming across the southern border are Catholics.
Yeah, I know. I don't.
So it's really funny that you say you're a Catholic nationalist, but Catholics came to America via
But
immigration.
they're of a different race. Oh, somebody made this graph for me earlier. Thank you. Plotting the U3 versus the U6. Like, basically, when your president is in office, you want to talk about the U3, and then as soon as you see the other guy, you're like, let's talk about the real unemployment. But like, they track each other pretty closely. And I don't think there's been any huge divergence of these two numbers, but so you can see it on a chart.
Yeah, so
immigration is good for America. You and I can agree. Otherwise, people of your faith wouldn't be here.
No, well, we were here on this side of the world, in this continent, from conquest. We came over here,
But the big surges of numbers, as you well know, because you're a smart guy, Italian, Irish immigration waves, Catholic immigration waves.
Okay, yeah, and I'm not
Are
even
you against
claiming.
those?
I'm not even
Were you
claiming.
against those if you were alive
I'm
then?
not even claiming that
'Cause a lot of
immigration
people
is
were
bad.
against those.
I'm not claiming immigration is bad in all cases at all times.
What is your claim?
My claim is that immigration, especially now, and especially for foreign people that have nothing in common with us,
It's funny that you
is,
say it's
is a
especially
negative
now.
thing.
I forgot your name. My apologies. Brian.
Yeah, how many
in every era there has been a Brian who says, "I'm not against immigration, just immigration now."
Okay.
This is what people said about Italians. It's what people said
That's
about Irish folks.
unfortunate,
Said about Russians, Poles, and now we're saying about
why
people
should I
coming across the
care
southern
about
border. Because you're not being you're being a little disingenuous saying I'm only against immigrants now. This is a trope.
How's that disingenuous?
This is because it's a trope that's been used by nativists throughout American history, and every wave of immigrants has come in and faced the same hate and animus and bigotry and lazy trope. And every wave of immigration is ultimately assimilated, integrated, benefited the country. In fact, assimilation right now, according to Jacob Victor from the University of Washington, assimilation rates based on language and citizenship and naturalization are higher now than 100 years ago.
Okay, let me make a statement first. I think that you in your
ignored
own
my statement, but
you in your own person are a complete perfect example of why immigration is negative and why we shouldn't allow people who don't have anything in common with us. You're pro-abortion, you're pro-euthanasia, you're pro.
Abortion and euthanasia. These are the things that these are things that make him not American. Like him or hate him. Technically, Mehdi Hasan would be one of the best examples of immigration, right? It's a super productive member of society. I don't know if he started his own business, but he's clearly works as a specialized employee of exceptional talent.
Pro-euthanasia.
Yeah, you went. I've seen your stuff. You've defended euthanasia.
Pro-euthanasia.
Yeah, on Piers Morgan.
No, I've never discussed euthanasia with Piers Morgan in my life.
Okay, so my point is that you don't agree.
Actually,
with
I'm the guy
founders of
here.
this country.
If anyone watching at home, I'm the only guy here who actually supports American values, democracy, free speech, the Constitution. I've got folks here telling me they don't believe in democracy, but they're nationalists.
Wait, why should we care about that? By the way,
isn't that what America stands for? What does America stand for? So you hate what America stands for, not me.
I'm not even.
And in fact, all the studies show that immigrants actually are more patriotic than native-born Americans.
The only reason why, that's the Mexicans in LA right now burning it down, waving Mexican flags.
LA's being burned down.
Please don't send us back to the country that we're waving the flag of.
I've been in LA for a few days. I didn't see anything burned down.
Yeah, I know the riots have ended. That's because Trump sent.
But if it's burned down, where's it all burned down? I haven't seen it. I've traveled around all of LA. You said LA was burned down. LA is 500 square miles. It's not a figure of speech. It's another false claim of yours.
No, they're burning.
I support euthanasia. LA's burned to the ground. Immigrants hate what we stand for.
Okay, so
I'm super relaxed.
So you're pro-abortion.
But you're just saying one false thing after another.
So you're pro-abortion.
And I'm standing by my position. Immigrants are good for me.
You're pro-abortion. You're an immigrant.
I'm pro Roe v. Wade. Personally, I'm not pro-abortion. If you knew anything about me, you know.
Roe v. Wade is.
All right, pause.
Ooh.
You've been voted out.
I was going to say nice to meet you, Brian, but I guess not. You made it.
Great to see you. My name is Cyrus.
Nice to meet you, Cyrus.
I am also son of 2 immigrants, came in legally. I'm also Persian descent, born in LA.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Tehrangelis.
Yes. Well, I am mainly upset, not at the immigrants, legal or not. I'm mainly upset at Wall Street. I'm mainly upset at the elites, the special interests. They are the main reason why we've been having this issue since 1965. And I understand most want to do well. There are a few bad apples, we can agree. Okay. But we want to...
That's a dog whistle. 1965 was the Hart-Celler Immigration Act, and he's talking about the elites at Wall Street because he's talking about the Jews that are bringing more immigrants to fucking outbreed white people. Wait, but why would he be using this argument as a Persian? Actually, I don't know. Well, now I'm not sure. I don't know. We'll see where he goes with this.
Go after the elites. They are the main cause of the problem.
Love it.
And just like healthcare, trade, everything.
Did you know, Cyrus, that the top 1% pay dodge 160?
Oh, true. Actually, I guess John Tron was Iranian, partially Persian, maybe.
$3 billion in taxes every year, while undocumented people pay $100 billion in tax. So I know where my anger is against.
There are issues with our tax system on the rich, but in a state like California, some taxes are too high. I used to live here, now I live in Las Vegas.
Different debate.
Okay,
I'm saying immigration is good for
America. Depends on the
people
taxes.
Like you and me overall are good for America is what I'm saying.
Okay, but it depends on how it's done.
Yes.
It depends on how it's done.
How it's being done
so
to the US.
I'm not blaming the housing crisis on immigrants, not on wages, but in a state like California that doesn't build enough homes and they're bringing immigrants in, you have to increase supply of housing.
I agree.
Okay,
I agree.
but this is where our anger is at the political class.
I agree.
The Democrat Party used to have a different stance on immigration 15 years ago. Bernie Sanders, Hillary Clinton.
I'm not a fan of that. I'm not here to defend different Democrats. What I will say is
that's our anger.
What I will say is that everyone here actually does think immigration is good for America. Everyone here uses an iPhone designed by an immigrant, is on Gmail designed by an immigrant, is on a YouTube show.
But
you guys all came to a YouTube show founded by an immigrant. You wouldn't be here.
But that's a tiny minority.
So you all love immigrants, whether you like it or not.
Okay, but it is a taboo subject. Should we be concerned about the demographics? So
no.
Anglo-Saxon, European American, 0% of America, it doesn't matter.
Are they 0% of America?
Well, let's say if it becomes 0%, it should not worry.
They're not going. Why are you being weird hypotheticals?
But there has to. But I mean, they're still part of our country. There's culture. There's. Yeah. I mean, even Britain. Like, it concerns me. But it concerns me when Britain is changing, and it's it's like they're losing their culture. But it's losing their culture. Are they? Are they going to try to?
I'm from the UK. I'm telling you, no one's losing their culture.
London is going to be very little British in one day. What's the plan? That's what we want to know. What's the plan?
You just made that up. Have you been to London?
How do we know?
Cyrus, have you been to London?
No.
So then maybe you shouldn't comment places you don't know anything about.
But what's the plan?
I grew up in London. London's a very British city. I was in London a few weeks ago.
Okay.
It's a very British city.
I hope not. I understand that there are people in this audience that don't like me or you in this country, and I respect that. There's some that don't even want me to date a blonde woman. They want to keep to their own, or ginger or whatever. I respect that, but there has to be a deal made. There's Idaho, there's Montana. They can go live in a homogeneous society. I don't believe in force, okay? And I believe that there has to be a deal made. And I think there's upsides and downsides to diversity.
There is a deal made. People have elections. They vote for elections. And right now, there's Donald Trump in the White House. Not someone I support, but people voted for him.
Well, why did he get in mainly? Because we had 2016,
I'm sure we have time
2016, Bernie Sanders. Okay.
Part of the reason he got in is that people in this room want people like me and you to leave, and they voted for him to try and make that happen.
I'm not surprised. One of the Charlottesville marchers doesn't like me, and I've met those people, and I respect their views.
You really shouldn't.
I respect their views. What the fuck?
Their wants.
Don't respect the racists and fascists is my advice to you.
Well, they have their preferences. That's just, we can't change that.
Actually, we can. That's why I tried to come in today, but anyways.
All right. That's time. Please return to your seat.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Great
Cyrus.
pleasure.
Good. This was the best. My final claim is that Donald Trump's plan for Gaza is ethnic cleansing.
Who would even debate this? Wouldn't they just agree and say yes, but that's based?
Hey, how are
Sarah.
you?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
You too. So why do you say this is Donald Trump's plan? Why do you think that?
I mean, he says it's his plan.
Oh,
Have you seen-
never mind. My bad. This is Netanyahu's plan.
His plan?
When
Have you
did
heard
he
his plan?
say it?
He said it standing next to Benjamin Netanyahu in January, February. He said it on Fox News in an interview on Fox. He said it on Air Force One when he was chatting to reporters.
Jesus, this is like how could you go with the ugliest color of bleach yellow possible? This is an appearance comment, I shouldn't say, but like, fuck.
Word for word, what's an example of what he said?
Word for word, he said, for example, we're going to clean out the Gaza Strip.
Wait, did she just expect him to have a Trump quote on this particular issue memorized? That was the...
Netanyahu in January, February. He said it on Fox News in an interview on Fox. He said it on Air Force One when he was chatting to reporters.
Word for word, what's an example of what he said?
Word for word, he said, for example, we're going to clean out the Gaza Strip. He said they're going to leave. We're going to take control of it. He says, we'll own it. I would own it. He says, I'm not sure under international law how he can own a foreign piece of land. And when he was asked on Fox News, the people, the Palestinians who are being forced to leave, would they be able to come back? He said, no, they wouldn't. That is the literal definition of ethnic cleansing, according to a UN definition.
Why do you
of
think
ethnic
that
cleansing.
Trump is saying this? Do you think that he has some personal interest in cleansing Gaza, or do you think there might be some special interest group or perhaps religious or ethnic group that's that maybe he received money
This girl is an actual Nazi, by the way, or neo-Nazi, or whatever, right? We've seen her in past episodes.
from them, and that's the whole reason why he wants to cleanse Gaza? Or why do you think that is?
I don't do Donald Trump's motivations. I really don't care. My claim is that what he's doing is ethnic cleansing.
Yeah, but she wants to talk about the Jews.
Do you agree with that?
I would actually, probably agree, but I'm just...
You agree that it's ethnic cleansing? You agree with doing ethnic
No,
cleansing?
I don't agree with it, but I agree
Okay,
that's
good to
probably
hear.
his plan. But I'm trying to figure out, why do you think that is? Because Donald Trump's a white man. He identifies as Christian. I'm not sure if he really is. But what interest does
Yeah, what interest does he have there? Who's driving him there?
he have in preserving a Jewish ethno-state?
Uh-oh. Oh, shit. Now I'm just trying to think, because the entire left is brain broken on Israel-Palestine. And he probably agrees with her a lot more than not on this issue. Oh, boy. Uh-oh.
Why would he have that?
It's a good question. You'd have to ask Donald Trump that question. I've got multiple views. I'm sure you have many views. I'm not sure I like where you're going with your views, but I think Donald Trump is definitely someone who's got financial interests in ethnic cleansing. He's got political interests. He loves the evangelical voters he gets. A lot of Christian evangelicals like to support Israel because they think Jesus will come back if all the Jews are gathered in one place with no Palestinians.
Okay.
I think he's going to make money, he thinks, from beachfront property with Jared Kushner. He said something similar in the
You
past.
think that's the real reason?
I think there's multiple reasons, yeah. I think financial, geopolitical, ideological, evangelical. I don't really care. My claim is that what he's doing is ethnic cleansing. Ethnic cleansing is a war crime according to the Fourth Geneva Convention.
Yeah, I agree.
It's against international law under the Rome Statute, so we shouldn't be part of that. The United States should not be supporting Donald Trump's plan.
There is the term ethnic cleansing didn't even exist back, but I mean, maybe he's alluding to other types of forced movings of civilian populations. Now we call it ethnic cleansing, or as of the 90s, I think, but
cleansing.
I agree. What do you
tomato.
what do you think should be done
Wait, potato?
with the Israel-Gaza situation? I'm not sure what your stance is on
I would like to see a
this.
ceasefire in
Ceasefire,
Gaza.
two-state
I would like to
solution
see, I
type
don't really
thing.
get into debates about what solutions. I would like to see an end to the killing. I would
Yeah.
like to see Gazans have freedom. I would like to see the Palestinians in Gaza somehow get their land back. 80% of Gaza right now is under Israeli military control or displacement. I would like to see freedom for the Palestinian people. I'm an American. To go back to the core of this show, I support American values. One person, one vote. Free speech.
American values. Then who's driving our American president?
A religious and ethnic
It is
battle.
not a religious battle.
Well, yes,
No, it's
that
not.
is what it's
No,
obviously
it's
between
not.
Jews and Muslims
No,
both
it's
want
not.
control of the Holy
No,
Land.
it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
What else? What other?
Actually, the founders of Israel were secular. They were not religious, actually. And I think some religious Jews, like Bezalel Smotrich, who's the Israeli government minister,
religious. It doesn't really
is a
matter.
religious fanatic.
My point is,
Now we just went ethnic religion. Who cares? You went from being a holy war to maybe something. Who knows? Who cares?
Core of the conflict is over land. It's colonial.
That's
it's
fine.
historic. It is not about
but
religion.
colonialism is for a reason.
The
Like, it's
people who
because
want to
they
steal the
Jews
land
have
want everyone to believe it's
My
religious.
point is, why
No,
are we
I don't
sitting
have any
here?
objections
Why
to
are we sitting here? It's
Christians.
like a false dichotomy. We have to argue, do Jews get Israel? Do Muslims get Israel? Why are we?
I've never brought up anyone's religion.
How many of us
I didn't
here?
bring up anyone's religion.
How
You
many
did.
of us here are Christians?
I didn't bring up anyone's
trying
religion.
to pick sides between Jews and Muslims taking over Israel. Like, don't you think that?
Hold on. First of all, I didn't bring up religion. Second of all, you know that a lot of Palestinians are Christian, right?
Some of them.
You're just
yeah,
reducing
it's
it to
very
Muslim
small.
versus
Well,
Jew.
it's majority.
What is the percentage of Palestinians that are Christian? Percentage of Palestinians that are Christian. In the West Bank, it's between 1 and 2.5%, and about 0.13% in the Gaza. I've never even heard of a Palestinian. I'm sure they exist. I've just never even heard of this before. But okay, that was an interesting claim.
Muslim. Yeah, it's very.
But there are many.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, but there's not that many.
So it's not worth.
So it is. Well, it is. The reason. Why do you think Iran is backing proxies that want to take over Gaza and back the terrorism in Gaza? It's obviously because they want
Jews,
Muslim control of the land. You don't think that's why?
No, I don't think it's about religion.
I'm saying what she's saying. That's not my position. Please.
I've been following this conflict for decades. It's not about religion. People who say it's about religion, it's a distraction.
Well, it's a big part of it, I think.
I think it's become a big part of it. It's been weaponized by bad faith actors, sure. But I don't think that's the core. The core is that one group of people are dominating another group of people.
What group of people is it? But what group of people is dominating another group of people?
One ethnic group is dominating another ethnic group.
What ethnic group?
Jewish people.
Yes, dominating.
Arabs.
Yes.
But I didn't say anything about Christian, Muslim, Jew in a religious sense. Okay, Jews defined as religion and ethnicity. You know that, right?
Well, why do you think that Muslims want control of the Holy Land?
You keep saying Muslims. I didn't bring up Muslims.
Well, they're Muslim states. Like, what do you think? Like Iran wants to do with the Holy Land? I didn't bring up Iran. But that's part of the conversation. What do you mean?
No, it's not. The conversation is Donald Trump is doing ethnic cleansing, and you agree with me. So I'm not sure why you're still here, to be honest.
It's part of the larger context
of the conversation. It's a weird
debate
when you actually agree with me.
What I was trying to say is we kind of have this false dichotomy here where we're trying to take the side of the Gazans, which mostly it's a Muslim majority, or the side of the Jews to try to decide who gets control over Israel.
I didn't say about control.
America is a majority Christian country. Should we be deciding Christians should have control of the Holy Land?
I agree. Donald Trump should not, nothing to do with religion. Donald Trump should not be deciding what happens to Gaza. That's my claim. If you agree with me, great. Let's shake hands. Give a seat to someone who disagrees with me.
Do you think that America should just cut ties with Israel altogether?
What's your definition of cut ties?
Like stop funding them, stop being a military arm?
Yes, I'm on record saying. That was easier today.
Good one.
Whoa, welcome back, Richie. You really want to be here?
First of all, I really thought that obviously where we started, where it ended up, there's a lot of aggression. I can see in your eyes there's a level of exhaustion from being here. This is where my empathy comes in. Where it doesn't is, when you have a room full of people that do agree with you, we have this opportunity to come together. And you're kind of mocking people when they do. So you mocked Sarah a little bit when you guys clearly had a common interest and goal to reach. So I can tell you're agitated. I want to bring that all down, please.
I'm guessing you're not going to, but let's see.
No, I'm going to. I do want to point out some contradictions. First and foremost, I don't believe you're pro-American in the value system that you claim to uphold, especially with free speech, if you're not willing to debate people that don't share your values. That's very un-American.
Freedom of speech is when you have to debate every single person? Wait, what?
Donald Trump's plan for Gaza is ethnic cleansing.
I don't believe it's ethnic cleansing, but because it's not his plan.
It is his plan. He said it's my plan.
No, he's
Benjamin Netanyahu called it his plan.
He is obeying someone else's plan.
Okay.
Who's he obeying? He is obeying Israel's plan for the Greater Israel Project, of which this is one of those things that we can agree on.
Why is he doing that?
Why is he doing that? I don't know. Maybe they have something on him. Maybe they have something on all Americans.
But you think it's a bad thing what he's doing?
Absolutely.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah. No.
Glad to agree with you.
See, I don't want to shut down the conversation.
I'm agreeing with you.
Okay. Perfect. But I want to take this opportunity because I don't know if I'm going to get the opportunity again to say you're not American. First and foremost, you're not.
Remember when I said the agitation from you is not going to be low?
What I'm saying.
You came to lower the temperature and then make racist remarks. You know that's a racist remark.
It's not racist.
You tell an American citizen.
But okay, perfect. You just proved your own point. You just said that was a racist position. Earlier, you argued this contention that America has no race. It's a bunch of immigrants that culminate together into
America has no race.
You inferred it. You absolutely did. Okay. So now you're saying it's racist for me to take an American nationalist approach. You're kind of
an American national approach. Is that a white approach?
I think it's a white nativist approach. Of course,
only Americans are white people.
Why did your parents immigrate from India?
Only white people.
Why did your parents immigrate from India to the UK?
Because the UK colonized and conquered India.
Okay, why did you immigrate to America?
Because many reasons.
Okay, all opportunity. There's opportunity.
That's not true. You don't know.
The accent. Your accent is an afflect of white Anglo-Saxon.
But there are 50 million Americans in this country.
I understand, but
none of them are Americans in your view.
What I'm trying to get you to do to reach a common ground here.
We're not going to reach a common ground because you said I'm not American.
Please try.
I don't think you're American.
I'm saying you're not American. I'm saying you're not American due to values.
I don't think you're not American on values either. I think you're a little fascisty, a little racisty.
See, you're using these words. Okay, first of all, I want to say this.
I'm not just throwing at you. You didn't come sit down. I said
every conservative that has ever been shut down by leftists like you. For every conservative. For every conservative.
You've already said.
For every right wing. For every Stefan Molyneux, Thomas Sowell, Nick Fuentes, all of those people.
Is Thomas Sowell American?
He's Australian. But that's not the point. I'm saying people that are on our side of the aisle that get shut down by people like you because you're leveraging this position of emotion.
You're joking, right?
No, I'm not. You're leveraging the position of emotion.
My side of the aisle is trying to deport you. The only shutting down is being done by you.
They're actually trying to genocide my entire race. So what are you talking about?
Oh, the white genocide clapper.
What are you talking about?
You're a white genocide guy?
Yeah, no shit. Jesus, of course. Probably half the people here are.
Are you kidding me?
Wow.
You know the fact you're.
I'm amazed that Jubilee find some of you guys. How do they find you?
Do you see
what they email you? Do you have Gmail?
Why are you trying to oust me? This is such a cheap tactic.
Do you go to Nordstrom?
No,
all immigrants. Have you ever been on eBay?
No, but I'm agreeing.
You love immigrants.
No, I'm agreeing.
You love immigrants when they're helping you. You just don't like the color of my skin.
We're having a different conversation.
All right,
genocide.
We're having a different
pause.
conversation.
All right, you've been voted out. Please return to your seat.
Okay. I really wish we could have got something.
I mean, you believe in white genocide, so it's very hard to.
Rip.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going? Nice to meet you.
Hello. So I'll switch over to the Gaza thing in a second, but first off, I just wanted to touch on that. You said that you support free speech, of course, right? So what I'm confused about is you've refused to debate people that have disagreed with you because you said that they're racist or they're fascist, right?
No. If we're going to do facts, they said they were racist and fascist. Get your facts right before you start arguing.
So isn't the whole entire point of a debate to debate people that you don't agree with?
I don't debate people who don't see me, A, as equal. No point.
He should just reject the premise. Freedom of speech doesn't necessarily mean that you have to debate every single person. That has nothing to do with freedom of speech.
Or B, support democracy, because that would undermine the whole idea of the debate. If you don't support democracy, as our friend here doesn't, and support General Franco, then what is the point of a debate? The First Amendment doesn't mean you have to debate everyone. Somebody comes up to you in the street and starts talking to you. You don't have an obligation to carry on talking to them. I'm sure you go about your business. Somebody comes up to you in the subway and sits next to you and starts ranting in your face. So you're not going to start debating. So everyone here has hygiene standards, as do you. There are people you wouldn't debate, I'm sure, as well.
Okay. So can you please describe why you think Trump is supporting ethnic cleansing of Gaza just because he wants to take over the land there? How does that...
And not just take over the land. Kick out all the people. That is the definition of ethnic cleansing.
So isn't ethnic cleansing killing people? Because it seems like you're...
No, you can ethnic cleanse people without killing them. And by the way, they have been killed. More than 50,000 people in Gaza have been killed by the Israelis, by people like Bezalel Smotrich, who said recently, the finance minister of Israel, we are going to Gaza to conquer, cleanse, and remain. We're going to annihilate the place. We're going to disassemble Gaza, he said. We're going to leave it behind as piles of rubble. That's the guy Trump's funding, supporting. That's the guy praising Trump. So yes, Trump and Smotrich are ethnically cleansing Gaza.
I cannot deny that thousands of people are dying in Gaza, but you need to realize, why are they dying? Is it possibly that they're attacking another country?
No, just because the people who are dying are not attacking another country.
Just because Israel is killing more Gazans than Gazans are killing Israel doesn't mean Gaza is righteous and Israel is evil.
I never said anything about evil or righteous. I said ethnic cleansing. You said don't have to be killed. I said they are being killed, and the criteria for what's happening to them. If Donald Trump says these people have to leave and never come back, is that not ethnic cleansing? What is your definition of ethnic cleansing?
I would think ethnic cleansing is when you're killing off a large part of an ethnic group.
That's genocide.
To be fair, I also would have said this prior to October 7th. Everybody that used the phrase ethnic cleansing, people will lie now and they'll say, oh, no, we all know what ethnic cleansing is. But when you say ethnic cleansing, it's like concentration camp. When you say concentration camp, people think death camp. When you say ethnic cleansing, people think genocide. But now they want to bring back the ethnic cleansing term to only refer to the mass expulsion of people, which on a hyper-technicality, well, not on a hyper-technicality, actually, I guess definitionally is true, is ethnic cleansing, but that's not generally what comes to mind when people say it.
Aside, you're confusing your terms. Ethnic cleansing is removing one ethnic group using a deliberate policy by violence or terror-inspiring means to remove another population, another ethnic group from a certain geographic area. That's the UN definition of ethnic cleansing. That is what he's doing. When he was asked Donald Trump, can they come back? He said, no, they cannot.
I watched your 3+ hour long debate about your NordVPN joke yesterday, and honestly, watching this one day later with the context of that entire debate about your arguably distasteful joke just puts me at a loss for words. If the Red had to host a 3.5 hour debate for every objectively disgusting thing in this video, they wouldn't be done by midterms. Yeah, that's true. And you could try to counter that by saying, well, these people aren't politicians. But I mean, like, we could very easily go to right-leaning politician or the President of the United States or Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, or Stephen Miller, the Deputy White House Chief of Staff, or J.D. Vance, the Vice President of the United States, or any number of members of the House or Senate to find a whole bunch of, it's unreal. Or they're huge, like, media figures in the mainstream and the alternate. Yeah.
That is, I think, I've heard all these. We've had people talk about white genocide today. You guys are nationalists. How would you feel if somebody came, a president of France came and told you to leave your land and not come back? Would you not feel you'd been ethnically cleansed from your home?
From America?
Yeah.
Well, because my ancestors were settlers here, not immigrants. They actually
Palestinians are not immigrants in Gaza.
Settlers, not immigrants. Okay.
They are indigenous people to the land.
Didn't Israel just give Gaza the land like a few decades ago?
No.
I'm pretty sure Israel used to have that land.
I'm pretty sure you're wrong. They withdrew from 2005 from the land, but control the air. No, they don't give it to them. They control the air, the sea space, the borders, the population registry. They controlled what went in and out. It was a prison, an open air prison. That's not giving them freedom.
Don't they have a border with Egypt and then the Mediterranean Sea?
Yes, and the Israelis and Egyptians work together because Donald Trump and Joe Biden and Barack Obama. Yes, they're funded by the United States. Did you know that Muslim countries do bad things too?
No, I know that they do bad things.
Okay, then so we're in agreement.
All right, pause. You've been voted out. Please return to your seat.
Nice to meet you.
No one. Great.
Hello, sir. Welcome back.
See you again, Mehdi. All right, so I agree that Trump wants to do a cleansing, but not an ethnic one, because that area requires a lot of cleansing. Because when you have a population that was taught from early childhood age to hate Jews, Christians, and pagans, you need some serious re-education.
And pagans.
Number one, that's not true. And number two, that's not what he's proposing.
Well, I mean, most Palestinians, by polling number, do support Hamas.
They support resisting Israel.
Well, I mean, the thing is, what did they do in the first place that they're in this, what you call open-air prison?
Great question. What did they do to deserve being occupied?
Well, here's the thing, because the Islamic Republic in Iran is using them as a tool.
What has Iran got to do with this?
As a tool for their Islamic expansion.
When did the Islamic... Hold on. When did the Islamic Republic of Iran... You're Iranian American, I believe.
Yes, I am.
When was the Islamic Republic of Iran founded?
1979.
When was Gaza occupied by Israel?
Well, the very first...
67, but then he should ask, well, when was Hamas founded? Would be a counter.
67.
67, yeah.
So Can we do the maths together? 12 years before the Islamic Republic of Iran existed, Israel was oppressing, occupying, dispossessing the people of Gaza. So your argument makes no sense.
Were there any terrorist organizations at the time?
The PLO was considered a terrorist organization by the entire Western world.
All right, so was Hamas there?
Hamas did not exist.
The PLO was a terrorist organization, but the PLO mainly operated in the West Bank, and the PLO didn't come until, I believe, the early 60s. But
still the 1980s.
Exactly. My point is, after the Islamic Republic came, it became chaotic because the Islamic Republic has started to use the so-called innocent Palestinians for their own
so-called innocent Palestinians. You don't think Palestinians are innocent?
Not all of them.
Because what about the 17,000 children who were killed?
They're doing the
17,000 children were killed. Were they not innocent? Were they not innocent?
Who's responsible for that?
Israel. Who dropped the bombs
Hamas is responsible. Hamas is responsible for hiding in hospitals and making tunnels underneath those hospitals.
So when children are shot in the head by Israeli snipers are not responsible for that?
Look,
it's a simple question.
Here's the problem.
When Israeli snipers shoot Palestinian children in Gaza in the head, as eyewitness testimony and doctors' testimony proves, that's not the fault of the Israeli snipers.
This is the problem. Because when you have
the problem is you won't answer the question. I'll ask you a third time. When Israeli snipers shoot Palestinian children in the head, is that not the fault of Israeli snipers?
Well, you got to let me finish.
No, you got to answer the question. Fourth time. When Israeli snipers shoot Palestinian children in the head, we're running out of time. I need to know what you think about innocent children.
Because
what you said was pretty outrageous. You said innocent Palestinians. For the fifth time, when Palestinian children are shot in the head by Israeli snipers, is that not the fault of Israeli snipers?
What did those children do? What did they do?
Tell me, did the children deserve to be shot in the head?
Because the problem is, over there,
millions of people are watching you say
they start brainwashing children. They start brainwashing children at a very young age.
So you support sniping children in Gaza?
Look,
do other people here support sniping children in Gaza? Is that a conservative position now?
What if they're wearing a suicide vest?
They weren't.
But what if they are?
They're not, though.
What if they're put on the suicide list? What did you say?
Conservative position now.
Or suicide vest?
What if they're wearing a suicide vest?
They weren't.
I could be wrong, but even in the Second Intifada, I don't think there were children suicide bombers, were there? I know there were some women suicide bombers, but I don't know if it was generally children. I feel like I would have read that if that was the case.
What if they are?
They're not, though.
What if
children. I have friends who went there. Doctors went to Gaza. American doctors. They came back as we had multiple children.
What if they're hell bent? What if they're hell bent on killing you and your family?
A 10-year-old child, an 8-year-old child, a 6-year-old child.
Because
this is
like
bad for you. You're sitting on live television where millions of people are going to see your neighbors, your friends. You support the killing of children.
Millions of people don't know what's going on.
Even your fellow right-wingers are saying, don't go this far. Like genocide, sure, but don't...
No, Mehdi. The fellow right-wingers are saying, we don't want to be involved at all because we hate Jews. I don't give a fuck about Palestinian children, bro.
Millions of people don't understand the brainwashing that is going on in Islamic Republic and in Palestine to create this hatred.
You're obsessed with Iran so much that you're supporting the killing of Palestinian children who never harmed you or any other Israeli. That's insane.
Look.
And the fact that you support Trump's ethnic cleansing now doesn't surprise me.
I didn't say ethnic cleansing. I said cleansing of the land.
All right,
because you need to cleanse the land from all the
Milosevic said similar stuff.
You've been voted out. Please return to your seat.
How you doing? Good to see you again.
I'm good seeing you too, man. First thing I'm going to say is I'm not down for Israel. Okay, that's the first thing I'm going to say. And I don't like when you...
Apparently there were a few 14 to 16-year-old, maybe, suicide bombers.
You come up here and you use the type of rhetoric that you do. You talk like all these like left-wing positions, and then you go to the last part, which is I don't support ethnic cleansing in Palestine. I think you're doing a huge disservice to pro-Palestinians when you start allying yourself with all these progressives. I don't think it looks good because you have all these conservatives in here who oppose war, they oppose intervention in the same tradition of Pat Buchanan and all the greats that came before
Not Donald Trump, though, sadly.
Yeah, it is sad. It is sad. I do agree. I mean, he ran on an anti-war ticket. He said he was going to. I didn't.
Because he lies, right?
You're gonna let me talk, or you just want to? Yeah, true. So, I mean, yeah, you keep going back to Trump. I don't think this is part of his plan. I think this is a plan of lobbyists. And this is not just unique to Trump. It's been a thing since the Democrats. It's been a thing since the Republicans before him. It's been like this since Truman. I don't know if you read like John Mearsheimer's The Israel Lobby or anything like that. Would you agree or disagree with anything like that?
Oh, I agree with Stephen Walt and John Mearsheimer, yeah.
Okay, great. So I'm just wondering, when you ally yourself with all these leftists and you come up here and you argue for immigration, you argue up here that, Trump's this bad criminal and this and that, and then you
think Trump's bad too?
I think he's good on some questions and bad on other things, but let me get to the point here, is you ally yourselves with guys like, Jewish Voices for Peace and all those guys.
Great people.
Yeah, not really, though.
Why?
Because they're self-interested in it.
By definition,
it says it on their homepage.
By definition, they're not self-interested, right? They're going against their own
community. Are you going to let me talk? On their homepage, it literally says that we are here to segregate Judaism from Zionism. It's very clear they're doing this in their own interest. That's why it literally says Jewish Voices for Peace. They're going to be the good Jews who say that we don't support Palestine. And then what happens is you take all these progressives, you go out there and LARP in the street, and then everyone here who's conservative, they're going to vote for the pro-war candidate because they don't want to be associated with all the liberals.
You're forced to vote for pro-war people. Poor
it's either that or get replaced in my country. What do you want me to do?
Oh, you and your replacing them bullshit.
Yeah, okay, buddy.
Oh. Klappa, really great. You got him. Good job, guys.
Oh, wow. There's 3 people so far. Let's keep counting. We should be nicer to you, otherwise you'll deport us. What a great argument. This is the free speech debate.
Base?
Let's keep counting. We should be nicer to you, otherwise you'll deport us. What a great...
That is the argument, right? We just need to be a little bit nicer to the guys that are trying to literally destroy entire classes of people.
Great argument. This is the free speech debate camp. It's not your country, my friend. It's our country, whether you like it or not.
Anyone, I'll choose a far-right conservative to debate for 10 minutes on a claim of their choosing. What does he do? Go for the most unhinged person? Go for the most reasonable person?
I thought Kai was... He smiled, he laughed. We disagreed. I felt like it...
All right, another griper. Okay.
Was good faith. Let's see.
I appreciate it, Mehdi.
He seemed to be in good faith. He seems kind of smart. And, he's one of the...
Okay, we're going to debate Jews or Great Replacement, which is by the Jews.
A few people who doesn't want to deport me. Or maybe not. We're going to find out.
My claim is we should get rid of birthright citizenship.
Okay.
Why do you want to get rid of birthright citizenship, and how, by the way? Because you know it's in the Constitution. I'm so glad you brought this up.
Yes.
Because it was one of my...
The 14th.
14th. I mentioned it to a bunch of your friends, and nobody wanted to engage in the 14th.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the 14th Amendment,
Exactly.
Citizenship Clause, which says that if you're born here, you're a citizen of the United States.
Yes. I chose this because it's an extension of the original debate and the immigration debate. Okay. I think birthright citizenship, first of all, when it was originally argued...
It was about slaves. They were just too retarded to put it in the actual wording of the amendment. Oh, no.
Among the people who were actually voting on the clause, right? It was argued that the birthright citizenship was not automatically extended to everybody who was just born here. And we have a long history of that as well, for example, with the Native Americans, who had particular laws that applied solely to them. What I think we're seeing in this country is not everybody is so similarly under the jurisdiction thereof of the United States, right? And by allowing for birthright citizenship and not interpreting the Constitution as we're legally allowed to and restrict, the automatic citizenship of anybody who's born here, we actually remove the issue, for example, of family separation, because there is no incentive of a family to come over to this country illegally and then have a child, which is contributing to the awful situation we have in America of breaking up families. This is not something that I imagine you or I agree with.
No.
The issue is birthright citizenship has incentivized that.
So even if I were to concede that in some cases birthright citizenship has incentivized that, I don't like the phrase anchor babies, but I'm not naive enough to pretend that there are not immigrants who come here and time the pregnancy in order to get. Of course, you and I can agree on that.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you then rip up a constitutional principle that goes back centuries. It goes back before the 14th Amendment. 14th Amendment came about, I think, in 1868, if memory serves me correctly. But the principle underlying it is actually from another country, the UK, ancient English common law, right? So this was always the case. The 14th Amendment, as you know, because you seem well read, came along and codified what was already a principle in American and English law, that if you're born in the country, you are a citizen. Now, you mentioned the point about jurisdiction. There is that little bit in there where it says subject to the jurisdiction thereof. That in the debate, if you go back and read the debate that the senators had at the time, they were very explicit that that was to do with foreign ministers and foreign ambassadors. Diplomats living in embassies, their kids shouldn't be citizens. Obviously, they're here on their own. The Argentine embassy in DC is Argentine soil. So we accept all that.
Absolutely.
But when they were asked about Chinese immigrants, Senator Trumbull, who was I think the chair of the Judiciary Committee back in the 1860s during this debate, he said at the time, Chinese immigrants' children, they're citizens. In fact, 1898, as you well know, we get Wong Kim Ark, Supreme Court case, Wong Kim Ark versus the United States. And the Supreme Court says, yes, even the child of undocumented Chinese immigrants is an American citizen. So this is a principle going back centuries. So while I can agree with you that there are cases that abuse the 14th Amendment, that there are issues of family separation, I'm not going to rip up a constitutional principle that goes back centuries and is backed by a 127-year-old Supreme Court precedent because Donald Trump is looking for ways to cut the number of brown and black people in the United States.
If you don't mind me interrupting, this is where I think it's important as well to go back to what we talked about with the Constitution. When we're analyzing, and admittedly, I'm not as interested in the legal argument.
They never are. Thank God. Thank God. Thank God. Whew. Don't get into the weeds. I don't want to do the legal argument. I don't want to do the 100 plus years of legal precedents and how everybody has treated this principle up till now. I just want to go back and kind of talk about my current feelings about it. I just want to kind of talk about how I feel about it. Okay.
There's obviously many ways to interpret the Constitution, but I don't think
there's many ways to interpret the Constitution. Mehdi shouldn't have let that stand. Well, what do you mean by that? That's technically there should be a singular way that the Supreme Court at any point in time, points towards for constitutional interpretation, but
especially among conservatives, that it is positive to use the Constitution to dismantle it. When we analyze the original context, like you were saying, in the late 19th century, our immigration law was absolutely different, including, in respect with the Irish and Chinese immigrants that were coming over. It was absolutely different. We
had open borders, my friend. Some people in this room would hate it. But we had open borders for half of American history.
Well, I don't think that's very true.
It's 100% true.
Well, hold on. If you're comparing the open borders, which I don't concede to, but if you're comparing the open borders prior to 1910 and prior to the Hart-Celler Act, and you look at the amount of immigration and who was coming over.
Nice deflection. Amount is irrelevant. We did have an open
border. It is absolutely relevant.
Why?
Because the Constitution, like the founding fathers.
Your argument is we had open borders, but there were fewer immigrants.
I was about to answer. Okay. It's important to analyze the context wherein these laws and parts of the Constitution arise. The original founding fathers said the Constitution was made only for immoral and religious people and is wholly inadequate to the government of any other, which means the people that wrote this document layman understood that it would not be able to properly.
Super secular.
This is the issue is that like this is just a bullshit argument. I'm so sorry. Like if you wanted to put something in the Constitution, then it would be there, and we would see people reference to it. You can't use these vague like, oh well, they wanted it to be only for immoral people. Therefore, here's my new legal interpretation of like this is just not how any of this works. Like I'm sorry, this is fucking retarded. But he said he didn't want to discuss the law, so of course it's just going to be around vague. Conceptual things like this and random quotes from random founding fathers. And it's like, okay.
Killer people, but let's just be clear on that.
Oh, no, that's not true. They were deists.
A lot of them were
No, the majority were deists.
But they were secular. Secular doesn't mean atheist. You know what that means?
I understand that, but deist doesn't mean secular or atheist. It means they believe in a God, but not a God that's
I didn't say anything
particularly
about whether
present.
they're deist or theist. I said they're secular.
Okay, but secular
means you
and
separate church and state.
Okay, well, let's talk. We could even talk about that. That's a perfect example.
You're going to run out of your own time making your argument, which you haven't made so far.
I understand, but the separation of church and state is now completely differently understood than originally proposed. Thomas Jefferson, who talks about the wall of separation, which doesn't even exist in the Constitution, understood it in a different
Supreme Court precedent, as you well know.
Yeah, sure, but the precedent of the last 100 years, where the country has been completely different from its founding, should not overrule the original intent of the people who wrote the document that you and I are both citing. Okay. Which means,
but I'm not locked into what the people who wrote. We've had amendments to the Constitution. You know that, right?
I understand that, and this is our fundamental disagreement. Is that I don't believe
you think you can read the minds of people in the 1770s.
That's not true.
I'm stuck.
I just believe this country ought to be more like the country we originally had, and I don't think
that's your opinion. You're entitled to it.
I understand that,
but there's a factual basis to it.
Well, let me try to see what you believe.
Okay.
If we are voting on these constitutional amendments, if we are interpreting them, and our interpretation becomes absolutely, let's say, a 180 from what the original intent of the authors of that document is, are you in favor of that?
I guess.
Like,
if we are interpreting them, and our interpretation becomes absolutely, let's say, a 180 from what the original intent of the authors of that document is.
Ideally, there's not much interpretation going on here. The law is the law, right? Where the text is clear and unambiguous, you follow the text. The only time we should be looking to like interpretation or stuff like that is where for some reason the text is unclear. Then you can start to look at the common law at the time. Then you can start to look at maybe some of the things that were being debated at the time when a certain amendment was being passed, when the Constitution was being written. But only when the text is not clear and unambiguous. If the text is clear and unambiguous, then you follow the text of the law. That's how the laws work.
Are you in favor of that?
I guess it depends on the issue.
Okay, I would say...
Like, I think that the easiest counter here for these guys here would be a Second Amendment question. So would you be in favor of interpreting the Second Amendment as only allowing people to own muskets? Since that's what, like, guns at the time had nothing to do with semi-automatic rifles, fully automatic weapons, had nothing to do with, like, any of the weaponry that exists today in terms of projectile anything, right? It was just muskets. So anything outside of, you know, a fucking pointy stick shoving some gunpowder and some stupid fucking ball into a barrel and setting it off is illegal.
No matter what.
So, for example, take the Second Amendment, which we kind of danced around.
Thank you. Sorry.
It's come up here and there.
Yeah.
You know the debate about the Second Amendment. The fundamental debate is one side says it's unlimited, and the other side says no. What they meant was the militias.
Yeah.
They didn't, and they had muskets. They didn't mean AR-15s, right? So we can have that endless debate, which I really don't care for about.
No, you should have it. No, you should ask him. You should ask him his opinion on it.
But to come back to your point about the Constitution...
Oh, fuck, he should have asked him his opinion on it. Make him state a position on that.
Principles. The 14th Amendment comes along in the 1860s, so it's pretty old. It's not as old as America, but it comes along, and it's been around for 150 years. So if you want to get away with it...
But it was around. It was around before 150 million Americans.
And I'm saying it was around before the United States was even created. It's part of ancient English common law. If you're born in a place, you're a citizen of that place, unless you're a child of a foreign diplomat or on a Native American reservation.
English common law did not exist simultaneously as millions of people coming across the border in a year.
Just to get the principles.
If you didn't like the millions of people coming across the border, then you have to craft a new law. You can't reinterpret old laws because you don't like how they're being used now. You have to change the law. That's our process.
Argument is numbers change everything because we've got so many more people.
Not solely, but absolutely.
Okay.
The demographics of your immigration absolutely change.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question? If you got rid of the 14th Amendment, what would be in its place?
I think a citizenship test would be fantastic.
What age?
I wish.
What age?
I think we could administer it in high school
to everyone,
sure.
Or just the immigrants?
No, everybody.
And then if you fail it, you denaturalize white American native born.
Maybe you can't get a government job.
Denaturalize that dude.
I think there's plenty of benefits that the government offers people that you should not be able to receive.
I'll tell you this, right? This might sound bad,
and I don't
think people care for me anyway. So let me say something you might not like.
Nobody would pass it.
If you have a high school immigration citizenship test for everyone,
I think people will take citizenship more seriously.
I'm guessing the immigrant kids are going to outperform the white kids, and you might actually end up denaturalizing some of the white kids, and then people here will be really upset.
And well, hold on. And I like to be consistent about this. That's possible. But what I think it would do is it would give everybody a larger sense of the importance of citizenship.
So you would say no one born in this country is a citizen. No one.
Automatically no. Automatically no.
Wow.
I think we could extend that. You know, people who have a heritage in the country.
What are they until they pass the test? Undocumented?
I suppose, yeah. They're not able to receive government benefits. They're not able to receive government benefits. They're not able to apply for these jobs.
But their parents are citizens.
Okay, well, hold on. We're talking here about the way that we would implement it.
Yeah, it's pretty important. If you're trying to get rid of the 14th Amendment, I'm going to ask about the practicalities of it.
And we're not doing it right now. And I'm not going to be able to explain it to you in 10 minutes. But what I can explain to you is that right now in this country, we have a crisis of people not
accept that.
Hold on. we're not understanding what citizenship is. The way that you've referred to citizenship makes everybody who hasn't come to the United States an undocumented American citizen until the time they come over here.
That's how a lot of countries are, right? You know that birthright citizenship is operated by multiple democracies around the world. I know Trump lies and says, we're the only country that does it. He lies. That's not true. Multiple countries have
Do you think it ought to be that way? Do you think everybody in the world is an undocumented American?
Hold on. Well, or undocumented Canadian, or undocumented Brit, right? Or undocumented...
Sure. Well, I'm an American, so I say America. But yeah,
but I'm saying, right, the principle is you immigrate. We have free movement of people. I support free movement of people around the world.
Serious question. What percentage of the population, your choice for local/national context, do you think that these people actually represent? Here, my guess on the Republican Party, anywhere from 10 to 30%, depending on the issue you're talking about. But remember what I said before, the question isn't what percentage do they represent, it's how many would go along with it. And the answer to that is like 90 to 95%. Like, I'm sorry, but like you deserve things that I can't say on this stream because I'm on YouTube and I don't want to get arrested. Like if you're in favor of the president axing birthright citizenship via executive order, I'm not even talking about your position on it, but if you think that the president should be allowed to do that via executive order, there is something deeply wrong with you. You're a deeply un-American, unprincipled person that has no business, in my opinion, even having a legal place in this country. That is just an unfathomably insane fucking position to inhabit. That you think that the president of the United States, I can't think of a more un-American thing. I don't even want to say kingly thing. It's not even like a king. People like to say king, but when you have a what do they call them? Like a monarchical parliamentary system? I don't even think the king has that much power. Like the king might get to act, through birthright and everything as the executive, but I don't even think the king can do stuff like that. The idea that the president through executive action can just start unwriting amendments is a deeply un-American idea.
On the world.
But do you believe they're all...
Are you Kim Jong-un? You think people should only stay in one country and never leave and be blocked from leaving their country?
I think
that's a very illiberal and conservative position.
I think there's a big big room to move between being Kim Jong-un and saying that...
Not really.
Hold on.
In practical terms, if you accept...
I gave one side. I want to give the other. There's a big room to move between being Kim Jong-un and saying that everybody in the world is an American, they're just not on our soil yet. I think being an American
that's a ridiculous statement, right? Because everyone in the world is not heading for the United States.
Yes, yeah, but...
In fact, right now, numbers of people coming in are dropping off.
But the idea that you are supporting is that the moment you come to this soil, and that you're born here, you become an American. And
I'm not saying the moment you come to the soil, you become an American. I didn't. I had to do the test. Right? I had to do the naturalization process, which is guaranteed by the 14th Amendment. But the 14th Amendment also says if you're born here, then you automatically get it. And I'm not saying,
I think the problem we have,
it's a hill I'm going to die on.
The problem we have is we don't appreciate citizenship. The problem is that when you talk about immigration like we did before, when we talked about everything before, what were we talking about? We were talking about products. We weren't talking about practices or perceptions, which is really what immigration is about.
Can I agree with you? We don't in this country value citizenship enough.
I agree.
I think we should encourage people to have more civics lessons in schools, understand American history and Constitution much more. Here's what the irony is. I'm sitting in a room today where I've met a bunch of people claiming to be Native Americans who hate everything America stood for centuries.
I think they stand much closer to the America that we originally had. And I think that's a big disagreement.
I don't think any of you lived there or had any clue what that was like.
But you've agreed to dismantling
things about that America.
But you've agreed to dismantling that America as long as it's legal.
You have. You're the person who came here and made your argument.
I'm a constitutional originalist.
Taking away an amendment of the Constitution. I didn't. I said keep the Second Amendment.
I'm an originalist. I think we should interpret it the way it was probably originally interpreted.
That's not even what that means, but okay.
All right, guys, that's time.
That's great, Kite. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I thought it would be an interesting exercise in trying to understand what genuine far-right conservative folks think, and it was kind of disturbing to see that they think what I thought they think, and they were happy to say it out loud. I am disappointed that I had to sit across from people who believe in white genocide, who believe I'm not a citizen. Multiple people here said I should be deported. One of them was even the child of immigrants, which I found bizarre.
Obviously, we were way outclassed. Like, we're not professional debaters. I don't think anyone in this room was, maybe one or two people. And clearly, Manny, he does this for a living.
Whenever anybody says they're like a textualist or an originalist, like the kill shot to that is always, oh, okay, so smoothbore, rifle, musket, whatever, that's exclusively what the Second Amendment was talking about, right? That's that's just it. Like, none of these people will ever agree to that. If you find the one person out of 150 million that will actually honestly say, yeah, actually, I think I agree, the Second Amendment should only apply to muskets or whatever, I don't know, message me and we'll figure out the next part of that debate. But you'll never find these people in reality.
Of immigrants, which I found bizarre.
Obviously, we were way outclassed. Like, we're not professional debaters. I don't think anyone in this room was, maybe one or two people. And clearly, Manny, he does this for a living, right? He's a journalist, so he's really good at what he does.
Mehdi Hasan was pretty good at, taking cheap shots, trying to derail people from their arguments, trying to pit me against, some of the people that wouldn't like people of my color to be in the United States, which is irrelevant.
I think one person said as he walked off, you'll be the first to go, which is ominous and racist.
I think that was disheartening and particularly discouraging because it just felt like it was fitting into a stereotype that we're trying to fight against, which is like we actually have have arguments, we can provide good reason, and that rhetoric just pushes that far away.
I am, I guess, a far-right Republican, but as I learned today, not as far right as I thought I was. You know, someone gets up and they're just like, yeah, I mean, I guess I
Why
just
does this guy, he looks like the troll face guy. I'm feeling too many personal insults.
to have like autocracy forever and Christian nationalism, or just being like, yeah, I'm racist. And to me, that's very foreign of a concept.
While I didn't, disagree with most of the people in the circle, it did bother me at times, to see them say mean things. There's not really a reason to do that. But it also upset me when Mehdi said, I'm not willing to debate with those people.
Free speech doesn't mean you need to give credibility or oxygen or platform to people who don't agree in human equality.
I hear Mehdi's point about not giving them a platform, but the thing is, if you stop giving them a platform, they don't just go away and change their mind. And then you tell the rest of society no one exists who thinks like that, and that's not true.
I do like to debate people, even people I disagree with. I try and avoid bad faith folks. I think some of the folks today were bad faith. I'm anti-conservative, right? I don't support conservative views on taxation. I don't support conservative views on immigration. But the people here today were way beyond conservative. This is open authoritarianism. And this is what is being normalized and mainstreamed in our country by people in power, by the media, by people who don't know any better.
What a time. What a bad time. What a bad time to be alive in America. Jesus.